a strike over the issue of SHA is not a function of this meeting.
Senators are calling on the IPOA to explain actions taken against officers accused of using excessive force, backing a motion by Embu Senator Alexander Mundigis over the killing of 3 protesters at Ishara Hospital. Lawmakers say IPOA has not been transparent in its investigations. Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna called for accountability.
I have seen some proposals saying, the people who have lost their loved ones should be paid 2 million shillings. 2 million shillings for a life, Honorable Speaker. That is what we are talking about. And we are looking for the money that we have been promised for compensation. We're not seeing it. We want something higher, Honorable Speaker. We want accountability. We want accountability for the police officers who are doing this. This morning, this entire morning, we spent the Committee of Security with the IG of Police and the DCI. Honorable Speaker, the IG of Police told us that it is possible for you to trace and track every firearm and every bullet that is used by the police officers during this protest. How is it then possible, Honorable Speaker, that we have never seen accountability up to today?
Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei proposed the abolition of IPOA if it has failed to carry out its duties.
I think we have seen IPOA only appearing as reactive body, Madam Speaker. And I want to call upon, today we were with the Inspector General of Police, and some of the members of Security Committee are here. I don't know whether all of them are here, but I think Senator Sifuna is a member of Security Committee. You must call IPOA. Madam Speaker, 2 years down the line, the young man that was beaten in Nandil's town by the police of Anti-State Police Unit have never been arrested or prosecuted, Madam Speaker. There were people that were killed in Kimwani, in Tindre sub-county. They have never been prosecuted up to today, Madam Speaker. What is the work of IPOA? If IPOA does not want to function, we should wrap it up, Madam Speaker.
And former Chief Justice and presidential candidate David Maraga has warned of rising political trends he says threaten Kenya's democracy. Speaking during a tour in Siaya County, Murang'a criticized zoning, saying it limits voter choice, fuels ethnic divisions, and undermines merit-based leadership. He called for nationwide political competition driven by ideas rather than regional blocs.
Parties should be able to operate throughout the country. When you go zoning, it encourages tribalism, it encourages ethnic balkanization, and that is not good for our country. That's not good for our country. Well, what we should have is, parties operating everywhere in the country, parties who are able to field candidates all over, so that now what we have is competing ideas, competing ideologies, rather than people from one area being balkanized together.
The UGM party leader also condemned the alleged use of youths as hired guns in politics, warning that state-backed violence could destabilize the country.
The sad thing is that those who are using force, those who are hiring goons, are government agencies. That is the worst thing. And I've said this before. A government which employs goons will soon lose control of the country.
And that's the news wire. I'm Sheila Tembur.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu. Broadcasting worldwide, Spice FM. Online, mobile, and on radio. Twitter @SpiceFM KE.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
In this country, 6 families and 8,000 Kenyans control 90% of the GDP. We are not a country. We are a plantation. We work for Ruto.
When you're telling the judges court orders are papers or they will not obey court orders, they're sitting and you're seeking orders from them. So how are they supposed to interpret it? Isn't it an oxymoron?
When you see a judiciary that seems to be under some control somewhere, you start questioning. We have very powerful governors, but they don't use their offices to serve the people.
If you are not shameful to do what you are doing, why should we protect you?
I'm human. Everybody's human. So when you're told, kuja tuongee, you'd be a fool to say, staki kuongea. Conversations have to be had, you know?
People in leadership should only go into leadership if they are ready and willing to change the lot of the people.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Every time he kept on saying he wants a vibrant opposition.
How does it make sense that public money has been used already and then they dare to sell it back to you? Why they're not giving them for free?
That's how broken we are. That's how broken we are.
They're being sent home now for fees. They're going to fail to prepare. We are compromising the futures of these children.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Parliament has got powers. Let me break it down. The National Assembly can initiate an impeachment of the president.
This same
and the
National
Senate,
Assembly.
Yes. That's our constitution.
This is just a continuation of the previous administration, which Ruto was part of. President Uhuru himself openly said that we're losing 2 billion daily. Daily. I mean, come on. Are you saying that we don't have a central bank?
If we look at Kenya, both public-private sector, that figure is ranging between 30 to 40%, right?
I think it's clear that the government of Kenya is living beyond its means.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Baba should disown these experts and they say they went there on the, because he keep on telling us that these experts just you came from Dubai and you found them there already at State House looking for jobs.
Government has to has to introduce austerity measures. It's something that this government and the previous ones have not been able to do in this country. We've talked about it so many times.
And really, I think you have seen the modus operandi of William Samoei Ruto since he came in. It's just showbiz.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Members of parliament, they go to State House, they just promised they given tea, mandazi, and 100,000. That's not development.
External borrowing, 589 billion. Are we on the same page? What did Parliament pass?
If anything happened to our president today, God forbid, that man would become president. Na ndio alilenga hizo stories za Shakahola.
The real thing is our constitution has only one person who is accountable to us.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
I am also a publicly elected official.
Okay.
My salary is paid by your taxes.
Yes.
So if you need me to answer questions, we will not run away from you.
Asante
We will
sana.
always be here.
The government itself is engaging in corrupt practices. That the government itself deliberately schemes to influence through bribery members of parliament.
You pay for a passport online. Alafu you're told there are no booklets.
I rebuke matters corruption because corruption has brought this country to its knees.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we might find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice.
When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands.
That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's Friday.
Day.
It's actually Friday.
It's Friday, man.
You thought the day would not come?
It is here.
It's Friday. Friday.
Friday the
24th of April.
24th of April.
Yes.
Yeah.
How are you this morning?
Mungu anasaidia.
Sindio? Wacha tuseme tu.
Mungu anasaidia.
Ni hivyo. Yeah. Good to see you.
But I'm alive. Everybody I know is okay. Nashukuru.
That's a good place to start. Mungu anasaidia.
I love your pants.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Asandi.
I love your pants.
Like alphabet.
Zinakafiri.
Sandi sana.
Unajua the people hapa wanasema tunataka amoni. Allah.
You're all kinds of silly.
Can kitika hiyo?
I think no.
Pay me.
Pay Aseto if you want to see the pants that he's talking about.
And you can see him. Clearly you're in Nigeria.
This Evelyn. You know Evelyn is very naughty.
What's she saying?
She said that they're on air. She has done something.
Evelyn. No fala.
Evelyn, first of all, I still don't understand. When did you start wearing glasses? Okay, I know we had a conversation about this a couple of days ago, but was I in the twilight zone? Had I not had my coffee? You're wearing glasses.
Yeah.
That's why you can't. Huh? You can't see your. Okay, anyway. Yeah, one would imagine. Okay, things are just passing me.
Yeah.
Syllabus. You're seeing the bright future. Sawa.
Syllabus in very fast.
Very fast, I'm telling you. Speaking of which, acha pia leo tutaongea. Yes, this is the Situation Room. It's Kenya's biggest conversation. We're talking breath lengthwise. And it's interesting because you know what? A conversation was spurred off of what we had in the room yesterday, talking about just what care is needed for men and boys.
True.
I don't think we realize the extent to which we need to make sure that in society we take a deliberate, active role in ensuring that our boys and men are okay.
Yep.
We don't. And there's a huge indictment on us. We don't. And we ought to. There's this assumption that, there's the man, he's the provider, he's the strong, he's the whatever. We need to stop it.
You know, one thing, I was just thinking about it yesterday, and one thing that has continued to be passed down the generation since time immemorial is who a man should be.
Yes.
Inafaa ukauke. Kaki mwanaume, you know? So you find there are men today who are thinking like their great-great-grandparents. Because that's how they've been socialized. Think they are.
I think there are very many elements of socialization that must be deconstructed. Very many of them. But this one, for whereby units of society are being broken down because of certain assumptions, I think we've done ourselves a huge injustice and a huge disservice when it comes to then we don't have functioning individuals, which are the basic units of society. It's that serious. And I know that I may be simplifying it in what I'm saying, but we actually have a responsibility to ensure that every other unit of society is actually okay. We do. Our first responsibility is to each other. I don't care about your politics. I don't care about your first is to each other.
I agree.
My life is in danger. This is not me who is saying this. Former Cabinet Secretary Raphael Tuju has said this on certain occasions. He's even talked about what you should do in the event that I pass away.
Yeah.
And so this is serious stuff. I mean, we know that there have been the wrangles around his dairy property and all of this and going to court and the loan from the ADB and all of this. So what exactly is going on? And people say, well, why do you pay so much attention to it? Well, because it could be you. tomorrow. And there's so many things that have taken up public attention around this case. So let's get the details of why his life is in danger. Who then might be the perpetrator of this danger? What exactly is going on? Raphael Tuju joins us at 7 o'clock this morning, and we'll talk with him to find out exactly what is going on there. The weekend review with Youth Insights is what we'll do then at 8 o'clock. From the youth perspective, what has this week looked like, and what is it likely to be in the next 2 days with the planned meetings? Of course, we did see the IG of police, Douglas Kanja, and the DCI, Mohammed Amin, saying, you know what, we've received the notice for these two rallies that will take place in Vihiga and Kisumu consecutively. But all that we're asking is that members of the public who would otherwise try to disrupt things and conduct themselves in a manner less than accepted, then we're going to deal with that. We saw that was allowed. So there are many things that are cooking. Njeri Kahiga is a national youth leader. She's going to be joined by Odanga Pesa, who is the SG of the Agano Party. So they'll join us for the weekend review, and just from a thought point, what's going on here. Finally, here we go. Finally, at 9 o'clock, our Healthy Friday conversation is another one of those things that you don't want to talk about. But you know what? It's affecting many men.
Yes.
Day by day. Yesterday we talked Justice Thursday. Today we talk Healthy Friday around issues of erectile dysfunction, performance pressure, the hidden crisis facing young men, and that we know that performance pressure is a big deal, but it's affecting much younger men, and the question is why and how you deal with it. Far be it from us to not talk about the stuff that's uncomfortable. You don't want to talk about it, but it's affecting a lot of people. And this is the reason that we see for a lot of breakdowns of relationships. And what's the word I'm looking for? I'll find it at some point. But hey, a big issue. We're going to talk about it. And I can see you smiling sheepishly, Mr. Aseto.
Yeah, because I remember we once had that conversation, and most urologists call themselves plumbers. So
right. Something with the plumbing not right. Or is it all in your head?
In your head, yeah.
Literally. Okay, so those are the conversations that we'll be having today, and we'll get into them. Well done, EVE, producer extraordinaire. Sawa. So we'll talk with you guys about that today. Let's get into it. Karibu sana, everybody who joins us this morning. Was it drizzling? It was this morning. Yeah. Okay, so I guess I'm alive. So, as we get into it today, Karibu Sana, our live streams are up, YouTube, Facebook, X. This is the Situation Room. Dennis Tolaseto, Okoh with you today, getting into it. Our audience on KTN, we see that you've joined us. Keep clicking into the room this morning. We'll say hello to you in just a bit after Mr. Aseto takes us to Egypt.
Yes, we're finishing up from the home of Musa. Musa.
Okay.
Yes. From the home of Musa and the burning bush. Yes. But the proverb that we get today from Egypt says, "The beautiful is beautiful even after rising from sleep." The beautiful is beautiful even after rising from sleep.
Yeah. If it's there, it's there. Yeah. I guess. That you imagine that when you get up from sleep that you're all tousled and you look a mess and that you have eye bags and whatever, but the beauty that's there, it's there. You can see it. Yeah. The beauty in a thing, whether not used or not approached, does not mean that the beauty doesn't last. There's some things that will last regardless. I guess as we go on, we'll find the deeper meaning.
If you have a beautiful heart, if you are a kind person, you don't need to remind anyone that you are.
Yeah.
It will always be seen. It will reverberate wherever it is you are. You know? So, calls on us in terms of how we live with people. You know, are you wearing a facade? Are you your true self?
Yeah.
Yep. If you're also just an idiot, you're an idiot.
Oh, here we go. Guy wasn't too far. Never far away. Dennis.
Hata you pack rangi aje, or you drape it up in flowers, the idiots will always show up.
Asa tumesikia. Tumesikia basi. All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us every morning as you do. Let's say a quick hello to you as you're getting into the room today. Lovely to have you here. Robert Tobogo is tuning from Mombasa today and says a very good morning, tuning from Mombasa. Peter Kiaria says good morning from Mombasa. If you feel like you're losing everything, remember that trees lose their leaves every year. Every year. And they still stand tall and wait for brighter days to come.
Yeah.
It's interesting because you never see a tree. Actually, wait a minute. There's a region in the world where you have weeping trees, but that's a totally different story. But the trees know that they have to go through this process of losing their leaves so that they can get bigger, brighter ones, or that in this season whereby they have to dig deep into their roots where you're not getting fruit or leaves.
And every season is just a marvel, man.
I mean,
I love it.
It comes through without it. It just is going to happen.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting one, and thank you for doing that every morning with us, Kiari. Makano Oliver says, good morning, Spice family. I'm happy for the teachers. They won big. I hope the same will go to all civil servants being affected. Yes, so the good thing here is that our children will go to school next week, Monday, Tuesday, and the teachers will be there.
Yes.
To assist with the process of learning. Desmond Oti says, good morning to the person reading this message and to the one listening to it. Most of these politicians were once goons. So, kumaliza genetical goonism in politics isn't an easy task. Ooh, genetic goonism.
Genetic goonism.
Wow.
In politics.
Oh. Okay.
Once a goon, always a goon, eh?
Once beautiful, always beautiful. I guess it could go the other way, isn't it?
Exactly.
Peter says, Gaucho alisema apewe pancreatic juice akunywe. Haki, you guys. The memes that were coming out of that meeting.
It was beautiful.
Yesterday.
And you remember the thing I was telling you guys here about panga? Kenyans are talking about it. Which is the thing. Nje kama scalpel hawezi fanya tunaweza tumia panga.
Toa yote kabisa. Well, Leo says, good morning, Princess Ndu and Aseto. We should consider disbanding the budget-making process. If all politicians say is to support the president to get development to your area, don't support him, you won't get development. Yeah, well, it's true. Then what's the process? What's the budget-making process for? I mean, yeah, it sounds like it could be a simplistic argument, but truth. Why go through an entire process to budget for something when somebody can actually just come and say, oh, you know what?
Yeah.
We have 80 billion shillings. We're going to put it in Nairobi. We're going to put money in housing here because, you know, what's the point?
What's the point, yeah?
We have to ask. It's okay. Laban Motaroki, says, good morning, happy people. It's actually the last Friday of April. Yes, it is. Margaret Wajo is tuning this morning. Everybody in Spice FM and the Situation Room tuning from Houston, Texas. I'm excited to be here. Let's continue the great conversations. Kabisa. Ryan Tula Omar, where have you been? Good morning. Back in Kenya. Came 2 weeks ago. Missed Kenya and I missed you guys. Oh, we missed you too. What does that mean? You're back in the UK now or are you in Kenya? Do tell. Karibu sana. Kimiak says, good morning, Team Spice. Thanking God for rains in Soy, Kakamega County. Ijuma Karim. Leo says, M7 said he has banned unprocessed minerals and he's doing electric vehicles. What can Kenya say it's doing to add value and tap emerging technologies? Okay.
Importing.
Tibbs Muke says, good morning. Tuned in Spice team. Nduana Aseto, we need a conversation on the Dangote refinery and his speech yesterday. Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. It would be nice to have the man himself to come and tell us a couple of things.
Yeah, I hear he's going to try help Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania set up a refinery in Tanzania. So let's see how that goes. Yeah, Kenya is also trying to tap into oil that is getting from Uganda.
Yeah.
So Kenya wants to be part of the process. So let's see. At least conversations are happening. To what extent they will be had is the question.
It's the first block, off the thing. I think it's great.
It's great.
Thank you so much, Rahim Tula. Bashara Njeri says, good morning, Team Spice. Ndona Seto, wishing you people a good Friday. Thank you so much. Julius Opani, it's Friday, my place to be every day for a daily dose. Check finally came through for the people who want power. Sindo?
Yeah.
Karanja says, good morning. Do I love your pants too? Thank you so much. You guys, your consistency on the show. I do not know what the show would be without you. Dennis, you're a great man. Great man.
Asante.
Big up. Erica War, thank you so much, Karanja. Erica War says, good morning, guys. Asante sana. Wanda says, good morning. Do an Aseto from Toronto. Under the pants. And Aseto the sweater. Aseto the sweater. This has been a very tiring week. My sister, we're going to be honest. If we're going to be honest, you're right. It has. It's taken its toll. I hope you're both going to relax this weekend. That is the prayer, my sister. Mukoya says, good morning. Lengampelelezi. The Situation Room, Ijuma Mubarak, to you too. David Mangera, good morning, Princess Ndu and Dennis Strong, Kabisa. Mukoya said, on performance pressure, young men normalize doing exercises like running, jogging, and gymnastics. Yeah, I think the problem is that the gymnastics are not happening. But anyway, Daniel Churu says, good morning to my favorite morning crew. Good morning to you. Today, I don't have much to say, but please request that you tell the music section to play more soul, funk, disco, dance genres we love so much and try limit the hip-hop. Brother, you're speaking my language. We'll definitely send that message out there. In fact, I've taken a screenshot of what you've said and we'll send it to the relevant people. That proverb goes to Okoh. Which one?
Kama ni mrembo. Aja
brush.
Kama ni mrembo hata uamke asubuhi. Ada. Slaps different.
Jermaine. Thank you so much, Desmond. Jennifer Itenyi says, good morning, Ndus, Aseto, Spice Tech and Spice Family. Good morning to everybody. Gen Z Walishiwa Power. This is Mukoya. What does that mean? Walishiwa, as in power has left them. Oh, okay. Let them normalize. Okay, sorry. Let them normalize doing exercise to keep the body active. Oh, that's what you mean in relation to our Healthy Friday conversation. Ah, right. Okay, get it. Collins Juma says, good morning. ODM Linda Tumbo, Jana walikuwa wameenda peacekeeping stato. These people have finished the party. Oburu anataka kuanza kula pesa ya retirement lini. Mzee analekezwa kama mtoto. Pita hapa. Wewe, pita hapa. Oh. Punctuation would be nice. Hey, okay. You two inspire me to be a journalist and have my own media. Really? Stay blessed, dear Ndu Aseto. Love you too, man. You. Sir Kanute, good morning, Ndu Aseto. Keep up to Evelyn. I appreciate how she keeps attention to detail. Kabisa, this one is Kabisa. We are kept in line, I wouldn't lie. Richard Odera says, good morning, tuned in from Mikindani in Mombasa. David Mangera says, 90 billion shillings within 4 years. Nimbaya mzee. Abado. Just now, 90.
Remember 2025, 2026, we've just asked for supplementary budget, right?
Yes.
In State House. So expect that number to hit Kedo 120, 130.
Yes.
Yeah.
Expect it to.
We must ship these people. We must ferry them and we must feed them.
You guys, I don't think you understand it, but a lot more money this year into 2027. The amount of money that you're going to see in as in pushed in.
Finally, we'll see circulation of money into the economy.
It's coming. Money is into the economy. It's coming. Good morning, my people. Princess Lindu Dennis, EVE. Looks like our MPs don't understand their roles in Parliament. It reminds me of 1982 and one-party system. Watching from Miami in Florida. Bienvenido a Miami. Anthony Musei says, good morning, Ndu Aseto. Victory Nyamoki is tuned in and says, Kenya needs Christ more than other countries. Victor Ombuye says, good morning, Kenyans. And Thomas Osoro is saying, good morning, Spice team. Good to see you again. ODM is letting us down. Hey. Okay. Agutu Ogembo says, good morning, the duo. Good morning to you. Ben Masha says, good morning, listening from Hindi Lamu. As usual, stay blessed, you all. Thank you so much. Our Ramtula says he's back to Kenya, and Christina is here this morning. Good morning, Kilamtu. Karibuni sana.
Ramtula, let's do biryani outside Jamia.
So mnajuana hivo?
Let's do biryani outside Jamia.
Look for Dennis.
Yes.
I said biryani outside Jamia.
Yes.
Okay. So I've just noticed how I was not invited, but it's okay.
Right.
It's
so
okay.
I'll cook for you a biryani.
We've agreed that's going to happen. Yeah. If you eat, please, can you put that on the record? Record that biryani is being cooked.
It's being cooked for you.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll do it. Sasa, wacha tuangalie headline. How do you say headlines in Kiswahili?
Tuangalie tu gazeti. Tuangalie
Gazette. All right. On the front page of Kenya's bold newspaper, The Standard. If he wants me to do something, okay, before we do it, Basi, let us then take a break.
Okay.
We look at weather, traffic, and then we'll come back this Friday. Let's see what it looks like and what the weather and traffic have in store as we're getting into the weekend. Tutaongea ndio sasa tuelewe vile I was going to say hewani. Let me just shut up if I don't know what I'm talking about. So let's look at that, come back and look into the headlines again. I'm just going to do a teaser for that. The story on the front page of The Standard, this one, you want to stay here for it. Sawa, it's 28 minutes to 7. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with SpiceFM.
Rain showers in parts of Nairobi. We'll see partly cloudy conditions through the morning, currently at 14, going to a high of 25. And it is sunny at 14 in Nakuru and 15 in a partly sunny Njeri. 19 and cloudy into Kisumu, and Kakamega at 18 is cloudy, while Mombasa at 24 is partly sunny. And we'll see partly sunny conditions currently at 26 in Malindi. Marsabit at 20 is sunny and light rain showers out into Kampala. 20 at the moment. It's sunny at 24 into Dar es Salaam, while 10 degrees and cloudy in Johannesburg, 29 degrees in a mostly cloudy Lagos, and 6 degrees and cloudy into London, 21 degrees and sunny in Beijing, and Thursday night in New York, 19 degrees, coming into Friday, a high of 23 and a low of 16.
Chilled Spice.
Spice and everything nice. All right, okay.
Spice up your life. Traffic.
All right, where are you this morning? If you're coming off of North Airport Road, a little bit of traffic as you approach Embakasi, and also coming out on the other side. So in and outbound traffic right around Embakasi is busy this morning, and there's some traffic on Outer Ring as you make your way out towards the direction of the Thika Superhighway. So there is some busyness. Also, as you're coming in on the Thika Superhighway in the other direction towards the city, you'll get to Maranga Road at the and even before that, the Pangani Underpass has some traffic. But you know what? That's just about it this morning. It doesn't look like it's going to be too crazy a Friday. So all in stride. Let's take a look at how it looks like in a short while. Talk to us as well to keep things moving. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
Feeling unwell? Do not search your symptoms. Find a trusted healthcare provider near you. The Aga Khan University Hospital has brought specialized world-class care to your neighborhood. Our conveniently located clinics offer specialist clinics, diagnostics, and pharmacy services, ensuring you and your family receive the best. See your cardiologist, pediatrician, gynecologist, family physician, surgeon, diabetologist, gastroenterologist, neurologist, pulmonologist, among other consultants near your home. For families along Mombasa Road, we've got you with medical centers at the following locations: Capital Center Mall, Imara Shopping Mall, Syokimau, Machakos Town. Visit any Aga Khan University Hospital Medical Center in your hood today or call 0730-011-888. Aga Khan University Hospital, world-class care, here and now.
Out and the fun is in. Feast your eyes and your kids' hearts on a feast like no other with StarTimes. Recharge your monthly subscription today and get upgraded to the next high bouquet for 1 full month. Turn your home into a world of adventure with Bluey on CBeebies, playful giggles on Baby TV and Jim Jam, learning that feels like play on Mindset Learn, non-stop action with the Batman on Toonami and the Powerpuff Girls on Boing, endless fun with SpongeBob on ST Kids, and thrilling wins with Super Strikers on ST Tunes. Unlock your upgrade today. Simply renew your subscription on your current bouquet and we'll automatically move you to the next high bouquet for 30 days. Dial *858# or call us on 0719-077-077 for customer care. Download the StarTimes on app to take the fun wherever you go. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Okay, it's 24 minutes to 7 o'clock. 8 billion shillings. Dirty fuel bill. That's what's on the front page of the Standard. Okay, what am I talking about? When MT Paloma checked in Mombasa, that's a ship, okay? It delivered more than fuel. It exposed a brazen scheme that left motorists exposed to inflated cost and questionable quality. Even after Energy CS Okoh Wandai ordered the consignment withdrawn, the fuel was not removed from the system. One Petroleum has since issued invoices worth billions of shillings to oil marketers for the same cargo. The same one where they said, no, vacate this oil, we cannot use it. No. Others are being asked to pay for the same thing. It now raises a hard question at the heart of the affair. Was Wandai managing public outrage with an order he knew could not be enforced? Or were the forces behind the deal too powerful to be stopped? My head is already pinning me.
You know, there's so many layers into this story. Because it got to the country, it was flagged down, they were asked to remove it. Then you hear it was blended with something else and released into the market, and whatever was supposed to leave, there is information coming from all quarters, but none seems to be the truth.
Boss, yo petroli.
Iko kwa magari zenu.
Boss, thank you.
Yeah.
Hii story yote, I can never, this word recalling, nada.
Let me tell you, the best time for that Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Expert CS Okoh Wandai was supposed to act is when that ship had not docked at the port of Mombasa. Because once that ship has docked, what happens immediately? They start offloading.
Please, beba wengine fala. 11.8 billion shillings is the total value of the fuel shipment at the center of the dispute, now under investigation over pricing, timing, and market irregularities. Bora imefi? Who are you going to send it back to?
Yeah.
I beg,
why do you think these guys are issuing invoices to companies to be paid? It's because they sold the product.
It's just interesting to me that you think you can keep telling Kenyans certain things and that they are not awake to the realities. You imagine that Kenyans are not awake to the realities. They are. They are. So, that's just on page 1. We can debate that in just a little bit, rather interrogate that story in just a little bit. But there's something else. On page 2, schools hit by fresh funding gap ahead of second term reopening. It's almost as though in the first term, schools knew that this was going to happen in the second term.
Yeah.
Remember that first term was paid in advance and it reached the schools before they opened. The schools have raised the school fees. I am talking as somebody who also received an invoice for double the amount of money that we normally pay in term 2.
Term 2, yeah.
Double. I didn't say increment. I said double. As in 100% increase of the term 2 fees is what we are going to pay. And I'm saying this so that it will not be said that I'm telling you what I am doing and what we have been given. It's almost as though they knew that there will be this number 1 funding gap and that there will be a delay in capitation in the second term. So who bears the brunt of this delay?
Parent.
Excuse me, CS Ogamba, when you people do this, excuse me, CS Mbadi, when you do this, we have to suffer it. We are suffering it. When you decide that the money that you are going to put to a fundamental process of education for the country's children, that you're not sending it anymore, or that you're reducing the amount, or that you're going to send it late, the people who are already having a hard time surviving are the ones who bear the brunt of this responsibility. Not only is it criminal, it's not fair. I'm just telling you what's going on here. Second term reopening, 3.2 million shillings. 3.2 million is the number of learners in secondary schools. Each student will receive about 16,845 shillings annually, well below the required 22,244. Treasury estimates indicate that 78.5 billion is needed to fully fund secondary education annually, leaving a deficit of 26.61 billion shillings.
So a deficit of what?
26.6.
Yet we have some 90 billion for just ferrying people around.
Yeah. And you
get why we get angry, because you look at that 90 billion shillings that you're spending to ferry people and feed people, and you see no return on investment, yet you can divert that money to go into education of the children of this country, and you can say we have return on investment because these children, upon their graduation, they would come and serve the nation. Let me tell you, there is something that what Kioni usually says. Hii nchi ndio utakuja kupata tu penye kuna watu wenye ni wazimu. People don't sit down to think on what is important.
See, how fuel flagged for rejection beat the system and entered the pipeline. So they said they were going to reject it. Let me tell you, that's what you're driving around with. That's what's in the public system. That they used the fuel. So the chagrin and the Shangri-La that was happening, where they said, no, it can't send it back to where?
Where?
It is in your cars. You've bought it. You have bought it.
You ordered it.
Let's just
be
delivered.
Honest.
Come on. Okay, fine. If you say that it should be stopped, where is the did it leave the ship?
Yeah.
Did it enter into Kenya, the Kenya pipeline? It probably
was
did.
Was it offloaded?
Or if we're saying that it wasn't offloaded, then it should still be sitting in a ship somewhere, or that ship should have been rerouted back to where it came from. That didn't happen. So now here, because second, just like you said, Aseto, very clear what you said. Somebody's invoicing somebody. Can I invoice air? Okay, people have done it, but in this case,
yes,
you're not invoicing for air. Oil marketers are being asked to pay a certain amount of money. What does that tell you? The fuel was offloaded. It's in your vehicles.
Let's just look at some of the invoice. I see there's an invoice here worth around 735 million shillings. There's an invoice worth 607 million. There is 618 million. Oi. Those are not just some digits on a calculator. Those are on invoices that companies have been asked to pay. The best time for that fuel to be rerouted back was when it had not docked at the port of Mombasa.
Thank you.
Then you'd be sure that product did not enter the Republic of Kenya.
Let's even say that you were not able, because there are tests that go on where there's a landed product.
Yeah.
So let's say that it at that point that you tested this thing. Why did you even start having a conversation about can we release it or put it in the pipeline? See, some things you guys just don't behave as though Kenyans are stupid.
You see,
it's not
even
fair.
that thing, because it started from the very first thing that thing flouted the G2G arrangement. Just using that line, that thing should not be in this country.
Now that we even know that the G2G was not G2G, it was G to me.
G to me.
So first of all, let's just remove that thing. The IMF, meanwhile, is demanding Ruto's action on graft audit before talks on delayed loans.
Good. Not just graft and hidden debt like pending bills. Lipa watu pesa zao. Mchezo bana.
Okay, good luck IMF. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That might take a while, but if you're waiting for it, you're going to be waiting for a hot minute.
I think this is the point where we get to tell the government.
Should we tell them?
Pesa ya IMF mtapata, mjipange. Muone venye mtapata hiyo pesa. Lakini msituongeze taxes.
Tafadhalini.
Mmeshatufinya mmetumaliza.
Hakuna imeisha.
Mafuta pia inatua left right center. So
don't come to us, we don't have.
Actually, we could tighten our belts.
The belt imeisha.
2 billion shillings to State House. The remaining 88 billion shillings would be rerouted to other things. Just saying. Tukaze mikanda kila mtu. I would actually give State House, that belt of endless holes. That is what we need for State House.
Like, you see, there's nothing to add anymore. Imeisha. Proposal to give students IDs faces hurdles? Really? Okay.
Really?
A bill calling for the issuance of national identity cards to secondary school students has run into headwinds. The Law Society of Kenya and the Immigration Service yesterday arguing that the proposal presented data privacy concerns and could lead to the disruption of the school calendar. Yeah, because somebody has to go and get biometrics done. Just hold on. They're still minors. They can wait until 18, if you ask me. Ruto remains cagey on zoning as anxiety grows amongst ODM leaders. They've decided that two governors of Embu and Homa Bay are going to be the ones that are going to lead these talks. They've decided that they're going to keep talking. Okay, just keep talking over there, no problem. In the opinion pages of The Standard today, Dr. Ahmed Ogutu has written about the shark cover, the sickness that's weakening the health system. Interesting there. Some of the stories that we're looking into the Standard today. Get yourself a copy of the Standard e-paper and find out what's going on there. Sawa?
Yes. So, Daily Nation. The lake, mountain, big reset for 2027. So, unease is the subhead, and the fierce rivalry between Mount Kenya and Nyanza, which have been in opposing political camps in the last 6 of the 7 presidential elections since the reintroduction of multi-party politics in 1992, has influenced Kenya's politics, with the exception of the 2002 vote, when the two regions united behind the opposition candidate to end KANU's 4-decade rule. Each bloc has backed its own in other polls, but following recent events, including Raila Odinga's death, the blocs are at crossroads ahead of 2027. Okay. So is it a regional issue or is it a leadership deficit?
Yeah. Good question.
Is it really? So SHA owes struggling county hospitals. Guess how much?
Oh, God.
8 billion. So we have 8 billion shillings that SHA owes county hospitals, and we have another 8 billion shillings that is worth of fuel. We're just playing in billions, eh?
Boy.
Hey. Now, tree planting world record, Kenyan awaits final decision. So, a day after launching his ambitious bid, Kenyan environmentalist Hilary Kiplagat Kibiwot has smashed the world record for the most trees planted in 24 hours, marking a major milestone in climate action and conservation. Guess what? I think this individual has done a lot more than what we keep on being told.
Yeah.
So now another question for him would be ensuring that, I think for me, the world record would be him ensuring that all these trees get to grow. There's a difference within planting and growing.
I'm curious as to how he planted those trees in 24 hours. Of course, he had help.
Yeah.
Did they have the holes dug before
prior.
that, and then they just were inserting and covering?
Yeah.
I'm just interested to know how that happened.
I mean, I don't know if also Guinness looks at the quality of work done.
Yeah, such things intrigue me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we go to page 2. So we have Kakai Kilonzo, who's the Benga legend who refuses to fade away. So Kakai Kilonzo refuses to die as his music continues to speak. His melodies remain timeless, and he gave voice to people whose stories still matter. On page 3 as well, Kenyan ex-soldier goes missing after joining Russia war. So we still have that problem.
Yeah.
I remember our Prime Cabinet Secretary said that everybody who was in that war would be repatriated, because he actually flew to Russia, right?
Yeah.
To Moscow. Yeah.
Yeah, well.
What's the report, sir? What's the report?
Kindiki also said that he was going to, when he was the CS Interior, he also said that he was going to sleep in the North Rift until the issue of this rustling disappeared.
Did he?
See, he would have still been sleeping there if it was the case.
Please go back, sleep there. So police probe lawyer's death after assault. Our colleague was assaulted and killed under unclear circumstances. This incident demands urgent and decisive action. That is according to LSK President Charles Kanjama. Lawyer Tom Owuya Imbukwa died after an assault at his residence in Harambee Sacco Estate, Donholm, Nairobi, in an incident that has raised concerns over the safety of legal practitioners. So lawyers are up in arms asking for security to be looked into. And page 4 is that story on Mount Kenya and the Lake region leaders at loggerheads again as we approach 2027. And how parties have turned aspirants into cash cows. Say that again. How parties have turned aspirants into cash cows. Parties are now charging aspirants registration fees, terming it a show of commitment. You want to come to my party? You ascribe to my agenda? Please pay me so that I can admit you.
Where did these people get this money from? Like you go say, hey, Dennis, lend me $1 billion shillings. Or what? How does it happen? Where is the money coming from?
I don't know. So what are we talking about? So 92 is the number of political parties fully registered according to the Registrar of Political Parties, and 31.8 million is the amount in Kenya shillings that President William Ruto's UDA party collected from aspirants for a meeting at State House in February. Come to State House, pay, I get 31.8 million shillings.
My God.
Lakini tuko na shida. And on page 10, the public hospitals in intensive care as shared debt surpasses 8 billion Kenya shillings. And the person there is Cabinet Secretary Eden Duale. 22 is the date in April that Health CS Eden Duale appeared before senators. And we're talking about 30.05 million shillings. The Kenyans who had registered with Social Health Authority by April, according to Health Cabinet Secretary Duale. So, 30.5 million is the number of Kenyans who are registered under SHA.
So registered but not necessarily paying. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I reckon if 30 million people registered, that's quite impressive actually. If 30 million people are registered and paying, then you have quite a chunk of change that you can do something with. But I guess the challenge here is that they're not.
No. The debt here is crazy.
Why?
So 201 million shillings is what is owed to Kwale County. 5.7 billion shillings is what the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops says is owed. 482.6 million shillings, the amount owed to Nakuru devolved government, and 619 million shillings is the amount to be paid to Edu Afya, subject to availability of funds.
So they're going to revive Edu Afya?
I think this is when Edu Afya was there.
They still owe them
the
money.
money that is owed to them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Star. Ruto stalls ODM UDA fallout and picks Wanga Mbaride to lead the talks. Okay, so these two ladies are going to handle it and say, okay, what was wrong? Was there a problem? Let's sort it out. Okay. He's still very unclear about the zoning issue, which is what brought about this knicker in a twist situation in the first place, because the UDA Secretary General Hassan Omar said, zoning kaput, not going to happen. Simbarati, deputy party leader of ODM, says, this zoning story tutakufukuza. So this meeting yesterday that was held at State House, interestingly enough, was to take care of those particular issues. Did it? I guess time will tell.
If all these people would just stay in Parliament and legislate, do the jobs that they're supposed to do, Kenya would be much better. Zoning, let everybody come and vote. Let
If
Kenyans
you want
decide.
to run, you run.
You run.
It's some of the tenets of democracy.
Anyway.
Audit exposes 20 plus parastatals in financial mess and surviving on loans. Where? Singapore. Kiamaiko, the abattoir, butcheries all over the place, goes digital. How tech is reshaping Kenya's meat industry. That should be fun. And speaking of meat, Kenyans put on 11 kg after moving to the US. Research indicates that, go to the US and you, I don't know what happens, but I guess you're
Come on, sir,
different.
can you give me American pie? Yeah, that's what happens.
Yes, that's what it looks like. Parastatals are not in good stead, according to this story in the Star. Ex-CS Kobia slams rushed closure of Kim as court halts the shutdown. Yeah, because that's a bit of a messy situation. 100,000 students who are in limbo from the last 7 years, and then those 10,000 who are currently in class who have I mean, come on, they've paid fees. Others are working after the certification that they got from Kim. You can't just shut it down like that.
A question is, the people who slept on the jobs, what happens to them?
Yeah.
We will go to Kim's and say the mistake that Kim did, but there's an individual who's in charge of that docket, TVET, right? And where were they when all these things were happening? Because we're talking about over 100,000 students who are now exposed because someone slept on the job.
Because what's the issue what's the bone of contention here? Is that they wanted Kim to be part of the centralized system for testing and all of this. But then I have to ask the question, over the last 7 years, when these exams were happening and they were not using the centralized system, where were you?
Where were you?
Why couldn't you say, well, you're not even accepting this first batch of examees, but you allowed it to go on year after year after year? And then now you want to come and tell us because people are having a tiff of whatever, that actually, you know what? No, I'm sorry. You don't just solve things like that.
No, you don't.
Because they did the first one, you kept quiet. They did the second one, you kept quiet. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth.
7.
Then now suddenly you're coming to tell us that they were not in the centralized system.
And
Where were
who gives
you?
them licenses to operate? The very same government. So, I mean, we just gotta call a spade a spade.
No, we can't behave
You
like
and I
this.
slept on the job.
Yeah, we
Please
can't.
leave office.
No, we
Someone in
can't.
TVET, Education Cabinet Secretary, slept on the job. Please leave office. It's that simple. Is she at home?
Yeah, we can't deal with things like this anymore. I mean, and you want to progress to where? To where? Muranga traders are now hoping for a new market because Ruto is coming to pitch tent in Muranga. So let me tell you something minor.
Tell me.
You might be promised a new market. Whether you will get it or not is a totally different story. But you can imagine that's what they're waiting for, to be told that Soko tutajenga.
For the people of Muranga as well, I think having a new market is a good thing, but please let's remember that's a devolved function. We could be walking to the governor's office and have a discussion with him that we need a market here, and because it's your function, let's discuss on how that's going to build.
Yeah. So in the last few minutes, of course, let's look at some news out of Kenya. And of course, you all saw the videos of, I'm assuming that a lot of people saw videos of what's happening in South Africa.
Yeah.
So in a public hospital, of course, a gentleman and his battalion of people come out and say, if you're not South African, please leave. This place, we're only treating South Africans. A gentleman, a Ghanaian, was, pulled over on the side of the road and said, this certification that you have, if you did not bribe somebody to give it to you, how do you have it?
How do you have it?
Why are you here? You should be in your country. The woman told him, she said, you should actually be going to fight for a better Ghana. You shouldn't be here in South Africa. I think that the backlog of apartheid trauma in South Africa is still so potent, it has not been dealt with.
True.
And this, what we are seeing now, is the resultant effect of not dealing with that trauma. So they're pushing people out of the country. They are even going as far as saying that healthcare, the guy was even mocking some Zimbabweans there and saying, run the way you would run over the border towards Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trauma from apartheid that is undealt with in South Africa. You can call it what you want to call it. It has not been dealt with. There's still a lot that needs to be taken care of. The xenophobia that happens in South Africa is not a 2026 issue.
True.
It has been there for years. They've pushed out the Zimbabweans, they've pushed out the Botswanans,
they've burnt
people in the streets, they've hit out at the Ghanaians, the Nigerians, the Cameroonians, they've hit out at the Kenyans, Ugandans, and Rwandese who are in South Africa. It stinks of unhandled trauma. There's a lot more that needs to be done. Nobody is saying that you should allow anybody to go and live in South Africa and operate and take your jobs. What we are saying is that you have to also deal with the problem. And I know that these things reach the desk of Cyril Ramaphosa.
They do.
And they've reached the desk of the previous presidents, from Thabo Mbeki to Nelson Mandela to everybody else who was in that position. It's a major issue and it doesn't look good. And people are saying, what? South Africa atuendi tena.
And even when dealing with apartheid and fighting for independence at the time, it is other African nations who pushed that agenda.
Yes.
So as you speak today, many say those who are kicking other Africans outside South Africa do not know what other nations, the role they played to end apartheid.
It's not a good situation. Must be dealt with. Good morning, 7 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is Daniel Zoya. I'm Sheila Tembor. The Ministry of Education is under scrutiny over 903 million shillings in capitations not disbursed to schools between 2020 and 2024. An audit by the Office of the Auditor General has flagged major irregularities, including inflated student numbers and billions allocated to schools with zero enrollment. The report tabled before the National Assembly Public Accounts Committee highlights ongoing challenges in public schools, including underfunding, delayed disbursements, and operational strain. Lawmakers raised concern over 3.3 billion shillings reportedly sent to institutions without learners, while some schools are accused of exaggerating enrollment to access more funds. It also emerged that some non-operational schools received capitation, even as the State Department for Basic Education got 20% less funding than required. Basic Education PS Julius Bitok attributed the shortfall partly to learner transitions.
The budget covered 8 primary schools classes. However, grade 6 transitioned to junior school in 2023 January and was funded from junior school budget thereafter. I think it was an error on the part of the audit, because when you look at page 10, Nyandarua High School, according to the Auditor General, there are no students. And yet on the ground, in Nemis, there are 941. But when we counter-checked, there are 984 actually. Mary Hill Secondary School in Kiambu, according to the Auditor General, there are 0 students. And this actually messed us up a little bit because it was the headline, and yet it was inaccurate.
Teachers, however, continue to demand timely release of funds.
The government has stated that the money was supposed to be relayed to the banks by yesterday. As we speak, that money has not been deposited into the school accounts, and we have only 3 days to open schools. We are supposed to receive 22,000 per child. As at now, the government has arrears, and that has negatively impacted school because suppliers are not giving goods to school, which has negatively impacted operations within our institutions.
The PS also faced questions over the distribution of 30 million shillings worth of textbooks to schools that do not offer the subjects, while others reported shortages. The committee, chaired by Butere MP Tindi Mwale, has directed the ministry to ensure accountability and proper use of public funds. Prime CS Musalia Mudavadi has raised concern over rising corruption in the country. Speaking at the Regional Anti-Corruption Authorities Conference at KICC, he cited the 2025 Kenya Corruption Survey, which shows that 84.3% of bribes are paid to secure essential services. The study also indicates that 98.6% of bribery cases go unreported, with the average bribe rising from 4,878 shillings in 2024 to 6,724 shillings in 2025.
The Kenya National Gender and Corruption Survey 2025 shows that 84.3% of bribes are paid before a service is delivered. In other words, corruption is acting as a gatekeeper. The same report shows that 98.6% of those who paid bribes did not report them, and that the average bribe rose from 4,878 Kenya shillings in 2024 to Kenya shillings 6,724 in 2025. This is a 38% jump in 1 year.
It further reveals that citizens are paying bribes to access services faster, with an average of 85,000 shillings required to secure a job and about 1,600 shillings for promotion.
The elderly are being made to pay to access services tied to healthcare, retirement, documents, and dignity. Ladies and gentlemen, that is cruel. We must also confront a troubling trend: the suggestion that promotion can be bought. That is theft of merit, morale, and public confidence. The survey reported that the average bribe for securing a government job was Kenya shillings 85,000, while promotion-related bribery averaged 1,600 Kenya shillings.
Mudavadi, however, said the government has rolled out strategies to fight corruption, noting that the efforts are beginning to show results. He also highlighted measures taken by the EACC to protect public assets in the 2024-2025 financial year. And that's the news wire. I'm Sheila Tembur.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Parliament has got powers. Let me break it down. The National Assembly can initiate an impeachment of the president.
This same National Assembly.
Yes. That's our constitution.
Because this is just a continuation of the previous administration, which Ruto was part of. President Uhuru himself openly said that we're losing 2 billion daily. Daily. I mean, come on. Are you saying that we don't have a central bank?
If we look at Kenya, both public-private sector, that figure is ranging between 30 to 40%, right?
I think it's clear that the government of Kenya is living beyond its means.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Baba should disown these experts and say they went there on the, because he keep on telling us that these experts just you came from Dubai and you found them they're already at State House looking for jobs.
Government has to has to introduce austerity measures. It's something that this government and the previous ones have not been able to do in this country. We've talked about it so many times.
And really, I think you have seen the modus operandi of William Samoei Ruto since he came in. It's just showbiz.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Good morning. 7 minutes after 7 o'clock and into the second hour of the Situation Room. This Friday, the 24th of April. And we get into another conversation this hour. And joining us in the hot seat this morning is former Cabinet Minister Raphael Tuju. He's here with us this morning. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you doing?
As I said, as the Tanzanians would say, matatizo nimeyazoea sasa. Yes.
A year ago, you wouldn't have said that.
Well, it was a more quieter time.
Yes.
But I like, first of all, to thank a lot of Kenyans, so many Kenyans who have prayed for me. I get so many messages of encouragement. And in terms of strength, internal strength, I think spiritually I'm stronger now than I've ever been. Because I've seen the hands of God, I've seen the grace of God, and I'm fine. I'm alive at least.
Oh, that's good. I mean, we'll get into the details of to why that is. But as you know, Dennis takes us to a different African country every week. We've been in Egypt this week.
Yeah.
Maybe this proverb would say something to you.
Yeah. So a country of 107 million people. Suez Canal important for the country's economy, and the Nile River as well, helping with agriculture and supplying water that is critical for the economy that is Egypt. But let's go to the proverb. The beautiful is beautiful, even right after rising from sleep. The beautiful is beautiful, even right after rising from sleep. How would you interpret it?
Well, I think I would interpret it that, beauty is not just what you see on the surface. It's what is intrinsic, it's what is inside the person, and that remains. It doesn't matter, whether they've just woken up or even if you try to drag them on mud, they'll still remain beautiful.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yes.
So it was a bit worrying a few weeks ago to see you in the situation in which you were in, because 1 minute you were standing and literally the next you were being administered emergency medical care within the confines of a police station. How did things deteriorate so quickly when we were met with the news over the weekend that Raphael Tuju cannot be found? And then you appeared Monday morning and then were arrested. And then you were in critical condition. Please explain to us what happened, because, since then I think you were taking a minute to kind of rest.
Well, let me put it this way. My dairy business park at the moment has got more police vehicles than the divisional police headquarters. So it certainly means that there's somebody very powerful who is got an interest in my property. What happened on the Saturday when I had to take cover was that from the previous day, I'd noticed that I was being followed by some vehicle.
Okay.
And it so happened that on that Friday, the police OCS of Karen police station came to my facility. They were on a routine. They normally go for security reasons. In fact, at that particular time, it was supposed to be an alert on possible terrorism attacks in Nairobi. So, I don't want to go too far into that, but they came because our facility has a lot of foreigners who come in, and a lot of, high-end individuals who come to the facility. So they came to warn us just to increase our security. So, of course, in passing, I told them, look, I'm a little bit concerned that I'm getting some vehicle which follows me. But, I didn't take it very seriously because I did increase my security detail. So at any given time, I would have 1 or 2 vehicles in my security detail. And what happened is that this particular OCS decided to go and, make an OB on that particular mention that I gave to her, is a her. But then all of a sudden on Saturday, about 6 something, almost 7 o'clock, I was heading to a radio station for an interview. And I think they'd been promoting it on air.
Yeah.
So that made me particularly vulnerable. I realized that made me vulnerable. So, of course, getting into, I would overtake, they would overtake. Of course, my security vehicle noticed this. And then, of course, after a roundabout, I took a very sharp turn to the left, and it was such a sudden turn that they passed. And of course, is a one-way, so they couldn't have turned around. So that gave me the exit into a current area where I had to make calculations. Do I continue to drive, in which case they could still meet me? I don't know how many of the vehicles, how many vehicles there are which could be following me.
Yeah.
And so I decided to abandon my vehicle. And fortunately, one of my security vehicles, which was following, was right behind. And I stopped when I noticed that it was them. And I went to this other security vehicle and had to take cover. Ordinarily, if that kind of thing happens, you go to the police station and report. But as I told you, my own diary was hosting about 50 policemen. So how do you go to the people who have
was there a clear threat at that point? When you talk about them being close to you in the proximity of your vehicle following you, did you feel that somebody was going to arrest you? Did you feel that you're going to be taken? What was the fear at that point that would make you leave your vehicle?
I think the threat on me is real.
Okay.
And and you have to assess who is likely to be after you. So I think on 9th of this month, was it this month? 9th of this month, when some people were arrested at my place by EACC. Maybe you've heard about that. You've heard about that.
Yes.
That some people were arrested at my place by EACC.
Yes.
As these people were being arrested, of course, they were trying to shake money out of me on behalf of a judge, and that case is going on. I'm a witness. I don't want to go into detail. But one of the people who was arrested at my premises, he had a gun and he had to be disarmed. All right? Now, these are people of the underworld. He was arrested, and the first thing which had to happen is that he was disarmed. The case against them is pretty open and shut.
Okay.
All right? And they did try to call me if I could back off. And that, I think, also is in the public domain. I mean, they were so stupid as to when they were calling me, I recorded them.
Who's they?
Well, there are 4 people. One of them is Washira. Mr. Wachira, he's a lawyer. The other one is Mr. Tom Awili. The other one is former Justice Mutava. And the other one is a certain Mr. What is his name? Is Mr. Mbau. Okay. Right? Okay. So they were arrested, and I think that is in the public domain. The pictures are all there and so forth. But so Tom Awili called me and they said, you know, the discussions which are there are in the public domain because I recorded it. As late as last week, Wachira did try to call me, and of course I refused to pick the call. So the people like those would have an incentive because I'm the chief witness in the bribery case, which involves this judge. It is incontrovertible evidence, but I don't want to go into that because if you are that innocent, why did they go to court to try and stop their being investigated? I mean, if you are innocent, you simply accept to be investigated and, you know, give your alibi as to how you get into this scene. That is one. In my East African Development Bank case, the chief witness of the bank, who was the manager in charge of Nairobi, recanted the evidence that they had given to court, the evidence that they had given to the police. And Fredo Jambo is a person who is under investigation. The only reason why he's not under investigation at the moment is because he consorts with Mohammed Mohammed rather, so to speak, and I can say that with confidence because I have got evidence. And officials of the bank are facing criminal charges at the magistrate's court. And this is not being prosecuted by me. This is being prosecuted by the DPP and the Attorney General. Okay. Right? So it's not hearsay. Okay. So in all this, if I add the fact that there was a fake auction of my property, one bidder, the property was valued at 980 million. They allegedly bought it for 420. There's just one bidder. And that auction had been stopped by court. Right? And the evidence is there. So, of course, if this person is very determined to have this land, I'm the only person who is standing between them and that land. So there are enough people who would want to see me out of the surface of the earth.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand that. Sorry. But something doesn't sit quite right, Raphael. And to understand that night, that first Saturday when there was news everywhere that Raphael Tuju could be missing, what it did in the minds of many people was that it caused a stir of worry and concern.
Of course.
And that they said, okay, well, if this is as a result of this case, does that mean that there's state operation in still disappearing people? So you can imagine what that did in the minds of not just Kenyans, people who then are active in the space where abductions and things like this, they're fighting for them to not happen. So for people on Monday morning to find out that you were actually not abducted, you were not kidnapped, you were not apprehended by state operatives, it did something in the minds of people. To ask the question that was there something else going on? And so you have to answer to that.
Yes, I need to
put some of those things to rest.
I need to answer to that.
Yeah.
I think the first thing is that it's an indictment of state. The state that when somebody disappears, they become suspects. It's an indictment of the state itself. All right? The next thing is also an indictment of the state that when I'm in danger, then instead of running to the police for help, I run away from the police. That's an indictment of the state. Because the state had used its apparatus at 2:30 a.m. to raid my place without any legal basis. They had no orders to evict me. They were acting on behalf of somebody else. All right? And until today, they have not been able to get such an order. Indeed, I do have orders which maintains the status quo. But they are trying to make sure that status quo does not happen by stopping me from getting my... I had 23 tenants there. They have kicked all of them out. all right? Which is amounts to economic sabotage in the sense that they don't want me to get the kind of rent that I get in that place, which of course is injurious to me, injures me financially, because the rent which is being paid by those people is attached to a bank loan for having improved that place. So it's economic sabotage, so to speak, because they have absolutely no reason to be there, and they have not been able to explain. So it's really a pity that we have reached a situation like that. And then when I came out on Monday, and there's a reason why it took a whole day. If I came out on Sunday, I had to make sure that I called some of my political colleagues. I had to make sure that I'd arranged the media when I'm going to come out. Because if I just came out and said, yes, I'm here, they would have come for me. And they did come for me. And I don't know who was following me. And when they came for me, I said, okay, fine, let me go to the police station and you interview me, make a report. I'm not running away. I'm not a flight risk and so forth. But you saw how they handled me. All right? So that was not friendly handling. I mean, they threw me down like a sack of potatoes. I injured my back because I do have 3 vertebrae in my back, which I've joined with 7 screws. Now, if you throw me on the ground like a sack of potatoes, it's almost attempted murder. Okay?
I mean, Raphael, I look at a position just on order of events. You took the initiative to increase your security detail.
Yes.
Because in one way or the other, you felt your life is on the line, is under threat. And at the time when security officers came to your premises at the time to increase, to do their routine checkups, increase security because of the terrorism threats that were there, right? The OCS at the time took the matter and reported an OB. That means she had picked up the matter and she was following up to understand what exactly is happening, that you feel your life is under threat. And at the time when these individuals were following you up, or rather now as we speak today, what is the progress of that OB report that was filed by the police? Because one would assume that after Tuju disappeared, he's showed up. There is an OB report that had been reported way earlier, and that investigations went into that to give a report on where they are with that. Any information with that?
I would be very naive to imagine that the current, say, for example, DCI would investigate. I did report to the DCI an incident in which Fredo Jambo uttered false affidavits. He presented a fraudulent affidavit. I gave them the names of witnesses, not only witnesses, court proceedings, which are on record in court, that it was obvious. And he had claimed that the affidavit was witnessed by a commission of oaths, and that is not the case. There was no commission of oath witnessing of that particular affidavit. Straightforward criminal things that I reported in, I think it was January 5th. It is April. They have not even interviewed Fredo Jambo.
Yeah.
They have not even interviewed any of the witnesses. They have not come back to me. So if there was any indication that these people could investigate, then that would have been one. But then you get a situation in which some 20 or so police land cruisers get into my facility with policemen wearing balaclavas, and getting into my premises without any eviction order, whatever the case may be. Over 100 of them. I think it would be very naive for me to think that these people would be people that I can rely on to investigate any danger on my life. And here is a situation in which, of course, I've helped the EACC to arrest people involved in corruption in the judiciary. So under normal circumstances, I mean, if the government was serious about fighting corruption, they should be providing me with security.
Okay.
Yeah.
They should be.
I mean,
instead of the other way around.
Because
but then, so I would be very naive to think that they can be of help. That's why I've had to arrange my own security. Even as I'm here right now, I do have my own security.
You know, you've mentioned that the police officers have been, over 50 of them, have been at your premises since then. That's Dari Business Park.
No, they keep on changing. I mean, sometimes they're more, sometimes they're less.
But now,
sometimes they have more vehicles at my place than at the divisional headquarters.
Individuals who've seen your tenants kicked out on what basis? Because you're still the owner of the property. The status quo still remains.
Yes.
So under what basis then would government of Kenya, through police, evict your tenants? Because the agreement that there is between you and the tenants, not between the government of Kenya and the tenants.
Precisely. So why did they do that?
Have they told you why? Or did you just wake up one day and your tenants are left?
I mean, with all due respect, I mean, I sympathize with the police officers because when I asked them, they told me, look, as we're just obeying orders. All right? And I went to the point of actually meeting the IG at his offices, a very courteous of him to agree to see me because I took to him the court orders and so forth. He told me he wasn't aware of those court orders. But I could see, with all due respect to him, I think he's a good man. I think he's an honest man, and I've known him from before, having worked in government. But this is beyond him. Yeah.
Okay, so let's do some quick fire here. Questions, Raphael. What does the court order say?
Well, I can say it to you, but the court order says that the status quo has to be maintained and that the title which Mr. Chebet got is set aside until this matter is finished. Because the so-called auction only had one bidder. And the so-called auction had been stopped by the court, and the court order is there to show that. And the registrar of lands was served before he did any registration of this new order. And the PS lands, Mr. Korir, was served, but they still went ahead and do it with impunity. So that court order is there and is clear in its own that the status quo remains, and that the new so-called title, which is with Mr. Chebet, is set aside.
Okay, so from the court's perspective, this, as far as they're concerned, the Dari property remains yours.
Yes.
Whomever bought it under auction, that has been put aside. And when the court says put aside, essentially is null and void.
Yes.
So the status quo remaining the same means that you should be able to then carry on business at the Dari property. Business as usual. Your clients should actually be in the property and continue paying rent, and you should go ahead. That's there. What is the issue as concerns the loan now owed to the Africa Development Bank? And that case whereby they need their money, you've said let's go ahead and pay, they don't want the payment. Explain that to us so that it makes some sense.
Well, it's interesting. Last year, the board of the bank did request the Kenyan Treasury, because Kenyan Treasury is a shareholder, and we had a meeting with EADB and myself and the Treasury, under the chairmanship of the Treasury and Mr. Oromoi, who represents Kenya in the board, that we come up with a solution. Mr. Mono, who is the acting chief executive of East Africa Development Bank, attended. But he said that he didn't have the powers to make any decisions. So he told me, can you give us your proposal on the way forward?
Yes.
And I gave them a proposal the way forward. You violated the contract. I'm ready to pay you the money that you lent for this particular project. Forget about any damages that may be there. And we wrote that letter on April 14th. We met on April 14th last year, and then April 16th, I gave them the proposal as per their request. They've not been back to me yet.
So these two scenarios are operating parallel to each other.
Yes.
The money owed to the EADB is a Raphael Tuju business issue over here.
Yes.
This property having been sold to somebody else, who presided over this procedure? Who was involved? Because there's got to be somebody who said, okay, well, we can go ahead and sell this thing. It can be up for auction. Why would it then be up for auction out of the blue? It's like my property. Somebody can come and decide that they're selling it to somebody else, unbeknownst to me.
In the presence of a court order.
Right, in the presence of a court order. So how would that process then have taken place?
Is impunity. In fact, there was no auction. Because they are not able to produce, and this is the things we discussed in court. There were no other bidders. It was a single bidder. Because they are not able, because first of all, when you do the auction, they're supposed to have a bid bond.
I'm sorry, but Raphael, but why would there be a proposition for sale if the owner of the business has not put this thing up for sale?
Those are the questions that I think Kenyans should be asking. I mean, definitely, to me, it's just impunity. It's impunity. It is impunity, pure and simple. That they think they can get away with it, and that's why I'm saying that when I say my life is in danger, I'm the one standing between them and that property. Of course, that's number one. And I know that there were enough people who are interested in that property because of the Talanta Stadium.
It's not too far from that, is it?
It's not far from there. It's got very good access to it. And it is a matter of interest that, fortunately, for some of the people who are interested in that space, they did approach me, but I did notice that Kefri advertised availability of 5 acres in the forest near Talanta Stadium. And they asked bidders who are interested in building a 5-star hotel to bid for it. The 5 acres that Kenya Forest Services had offered available to all Kenyans to bid. And some Kenyans bid, and they're already there. They qualified, and they got the 5 acres. So I would hope that they should reduce their interest on my property.
I mean, what you're talking about doubles up on the rule of law. Why do I say that? Because this is, Raphael Tuju is not just any other ordinary Kenyan. You've served this country as a cabinet secretary, and a matter that involves you then is something that is well within the who and who's of the Republic of Kenya, right? And we talk about the land that is where Dairy Business Park sits on. It is something that as well has been in the media circles, has been in court for a very long time. That a court order has been given, yet we see an auction process that continues to go on despite a court order stopping it, and that we see a title deed has been processed, because who processes title deeds? It has to come from government, Ministry of Lands. So then, is this then a long chain of individuals, then government, who want to see Raphael Tuju out?
No, I think is not just a Raphael Tuju affair. I think you're seeing so many other people suffering the same fate. The Raphael Tuju one is just because I'm in the public domain. Is because, again, I do have a certain amount of gravitas to be able to put up a fight.
So other people with prime property could be, pushed out of their property just because you can. Okay.
Yes. And of course, this is happening. I think it's not news. I think even this last week, a few other cases have come from Kiambu and from other places. So it is impunity. Some people think they can get away with anything. I mean, if you look at the papers on any given day, even the headline today, 8 billion dirty fuel bill. How can things like those happen? Unless it is because there are certain people in certain positions in government who think that they can do anything and get away with it.
Let's take a break at this point, because then we're going to come back, because you then went ahead and scared people a little bit more, Raphael, and you said, okay, if I do disappear or if I turn up dead, bury me in a very short period of time. And then we wonder, did it have to go to that extent, or is it that bad? So let's come back from this break and find out a little bit more. Raphael Tuju is with us in the Situation Room this morning, trying to unravel all of this and what it means. And then, will business actually continue at Dari? We'll come back and find out more. Don't go away.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with SpiceFM.
Okay, sunny conditions in parts of Nairobi today. We'll see a high of 25 and a high of 25 in a sunny Nakuru at 13. 15 and sunny in Njeri and Mombasa. Kisumu is partly sunny at 20. Mostly sunny conditions at 18 in Kakamega, while it's cloudy at 24 in Mombasa. It's partly sunny at 25 in Malindi. 20 and sunny in Marsabit, and we're looking out into Kampala. Cloudy conditions through Friday at 21. Mostly sunny at 24 in Dar es Salaam, while at 10 degrees it is mostly cloudy in Johannesburg. Lagos at 29 is cloudy, and London at 5 is cloudy. Mostly sunny at 22 in Beijing, and cloudy at 18 in New York.
Feeling unwell? Do not search your symptoms. Find a trusted healthcare provider near you. The Aga Khan University Hospital has brought specialized world-class care to your neighborhood. Our conveniently located clinics offer specialist clinics, diagnostics, and pharmacy services, ensuring you and your family receive the best. See your cardiologist, pediatrician, gynecologist, family physician, surgeon, diabetologist, gastroenterologist, neurologist, pulmonologist, among other consultants near your home. For families along Mombasa Road, we've got you with medical centers at the following locations: Capital Center Mall, Imara Shopping Mall, Syokimau, Machakos Town. Visit any Aga Khan University Hospital Medical Center in your hood today or call 0730-011-888. Aga Khan University Hospital, world-class care, here and now.
School is out and the fun is in. Feast your eyes and your kids' hearts on a feast like no other with StarTimes. Recharge your monthly subscription today and get upgraded to the next high bouquet for 1 full month. Turn your home into a world of adventure with Bluey on CBeebies, playful giggles on Baby TV and Jim Jam, learning that feels like play on Mindset Learn, non-stop action with the Batman on Toonami and the Powerpuff Girls on Boing, endless fun with SpongeBob on ST Kids, and thrilling wins with Super Strikers on ST Tunes. Unlock your upgrade today. Simply renew your subscription on your current bouquet and we'll automatically move you to the next high bouquet for 30 days. Dial *858# or call us on 0719-077-077 for customer care. Download the StarTimes on app to take the fun wherever you go. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Our conversations continue this morning. We are talking with Raphael Tuju today to try and understand a little bit more about what's going on. Some of the things that have come out is that it's possible that this could affect other people as well, so long as you do have some kind of prime property. Raphael, just try to decongest this for us, because whereas the EADB issue is one, it would appear as though the reason why this piece of property is up for sale is because of a default on the payment of the loan. And so that's why somebody else could come in and bid for it if the courts then had gone ahead and said, because of no payment, and EADB did go to court over this. And so the reason why this could be sold is because of this non-payment. Now, if that's the case, and then there was an offering to be made to the bank and say, well, we can pay, and the bank doesn't want the payment, decongest that for us to understand why.
I mean, it's inexplicable. I mean, first of all, the property is valued at, the dairy property is valued at 980 million.
Mm-hmm.
Why would the bank want to sell it for 420 million?
Mm-hmm.
What we are offering the bank is over 1 billion shillings in order to get out of this. But of course,
as in you have that money to pay the bank today, say take the money, here's the loan.
Of course.
All right.
The thing is that I don't have the money cash myself.
I understand,
but the thing is that I've been able to make those financial arrangements 3 times before, so that if the bank would say, yes, let's settle and cut loose, there are two banks which are able to come on board because my projects are viable, and they've always been viable. I'm not a speculator in the real estate business. I've always done business, and I've borrowed money before and paid banks. I'm not a defaulter in any other bank. So this happens to be the first one where they say I've defaulted, but the default is because they violated a contract. But that's a different matter. I don't want to go into it in detail. I think what Kenya is dealing with is a pathological greed. When people don't know when enough is enough, is pathological. And when you're dealing with pathological greed, it's very dangerous, because this is a situation in which it doesn't matter how much certain people get. The people with the pathological greed, they never have enough. I mean, you could be wearing a very nice suit, but then they see you in a T-shirt and they like your T-shirt and they say, you know, I'd like to have that T-shirt as well. When it's pathological, just like pathological liars. They don't know how to say the truth. So I think that's what we're dealing with at the moment, because some of the individuals involved in this, they have thousands and thousands of acres. So why are they after 20-something acres in Nairobi? Weighed against the thousands of acres that they already have. And if that is not enough, then really we're dealing with a pathological situation here.
When you were picked up by the police and arrested and taken to the cells, one would say the treatment did not meet the threshold within which you treat even someone who's incarcerated. At the time, access to your doctors, to your lawyers, was a difficult thing. And one would say that is not how the game is played, even when one is an accused person. Many have said that you, Raphael, Tuju, lied to the people of Kenya that you were abducted, that the sources who spoke even to the media lied to the media. You've explained yourself as to where you went and why you did not even go to the police. Respond to what led to the kind of treatment that we saw, because if you were in the hands of the police, many say, if you're in the hands of the police, you are in the safest place because they're supposed to protect you. Why then did we see that kind of treatment?
Well, you can say it was to humiliate me, but I don't think I'm really humiliated, because when people are using their muscles, I think it is them who should be humiliated for that kind of treatment. I mean, I've had so much sympathy. Not only locally but internationally. I mean, I've got calls from my former colleagues in government in all over the world. But I do know that I'm a political item, so there's no running away from that. I worked for Raila in 2022 together with Uhuru when things were not going on according to what they thought. There was some shenanigans, they thought. And I think that Uhuru did send Ogola, the late Ogola, to bombers of Kenya. And likewise, Raila sent me, you know, as a person who was working together with him, to go and have a look what was happening. And I engaged the late Chebukati to find out what was going on, but not only the late Chebukati, I engaged all the other commissioners. And the commissioners were divided, and I think the rest is history. I mean, 4 commissioners are saying this and 3 commissioners are saying that, so that was a crisis, and naturally I was there. But I've been told by some lawyer who was very close to the powers that be that after that they did even consider the possibility of arresting me and take me to court for treason or something. As
they did or didn't? They did.
No, they did contemplate.
Okay, they did contemplate. Okay,
and the lawyer, who is, I don't need to name him, but he told me that was one of the considerations of the government of the day. So I do know that I'm a political item of interest, and you know, I cannot deny I worked for Uhuru and I worked with Raila during the last election process, and there may be people who are very angry with my political situation. I did make a very conscious decision to get back to my business, to work for my family and my children. I resigned from Jubilee and I resigned from Azimio so that I can just concentrate on my life, which always went on even before I went into politics. I was I was reading news.
So would we be right then to say that everything that we see today, away from your agreement with the bank, the court matters that we see today, that all we see is politically influenced?
Well, I would be very naive not to think that there's some political influence on this, because why should there be more policemen and more police vehicles at Dari Business Park than you get at the Langata Divisional Police headquarters? Yeah. I mean, that's not a gazetted police station, so why should there be so many policemen there with their vehicles? Yeah, so unless I'm very naive, I can only read politics in it. Yes.
So from what you see, there's far more than meets the eye. And the thing about cases like this is that it's tried in the court of public opinion, and that opinions sometimes then form narratives which will be carried. And the truth is that the only people who know the truth are the people who know the truth. In cases like this. Is there anything else from where you sit that could be the case beyond the things that you've mentioned that could then influence what is actually ordinary in the lives of very many people? Land issues, court issues, debt issues, back and forth. But this seems to have been carried out in such a way that we've thrown in politics, thrown in, vendetta, thrown in so many other things, which again goes back to the question that, is there anything else that could be the reason behind this, save Raphael Tuju was seen having a conversation with somebody about what could have influenced the result of a general election, and that didn't sit right with somebody, and that, his land could be taken. It could be anybody. And that, yes, you do have political gravitas as somebody who was in an influential position in government. I think the Super CS started with you, kind of thing. But the questions still abound that what is this thing? Is there something that there seems to be a queen bee somewhere?
Yeah. I think it's a multiplicity of issues. But I think for me the most important thing, which really should be of concern to Kenyans, is the rule of law and a credible judiciary. And that's because a failed state normally is defined by failure in the executive, corruption in parliament, failure in various sectors. But the moment you have failure of the judiciary, then the country is gone. Because then what then happens is that then people take the law into their hands. People develop militias. So that, like in this case, how can we have a situation in which there's corruption in the judiciary, and it means that then it completely undermines the rule of law, so to speak. So for me, I could be on trial. I mean, EADB could be on trial. Like, for example, I'll just give you this. Maybe there are too many moving parts in this particular case. The EADB operates under an EADB Act of 2014. This has been declared unconstitutional because it gives the EADB gives the Minister for Finance the opportunity to be able to get money sent to EADB without parliamentary approval. and also not to be audited. Okay, so there's a hole there, and unfortunately, this EADB Act was made into Kenyan law in 2014 when
after you had taken the loan.
No, before I took the loan.
Okay.
And who was the Attorney General who presented in Parliament? It was Mungai. And at the same time, Mugai's farm of Mungai and Nyaoga were acting for EADB. So there's serious issues of conflict of interest. But then now it has been declared unconstitutional. Because surely how can you be getting money from the exchequer?
So if that's the case, then they should not have been able to offer you the loan in the first place. One would ask the question that even if it was unconstitutional in terms of its operation, Raphael, then it was unconstitutional for them to offer you the loan in the very beginning.
No, even any contract has got issues because that EADB Act allows them to operate outside the Banking Act. And when you operate outside the Banking Act, which means that any violations cannot be dealt with by the central bank, which is the regulator, which it is not regulated by the central bank. Now, as a consumer, if you say these are hospitals and people come here with the stethoscopes and dust coats saying they are doctors, I mean, all you have to do is to dress differently.
Yeah, I can convince you.
and say you're a doctor, and I'll come and consult with you. So it's the responsibility of central bank to be able to tell us this is a bank. But according to the Constitution, the constitutional, I mean, the act which allows them to exist is unconstitutional to the extent that it does not obey the Banking Act. It is not under the Banking Act. Unconstitutional to the extent that it does not, they have not been able to submit audit accounts as demanded by the Constitutional Court for the last 11 years. It is unconstitutional to the extent that they get money from the exchequer, but when it comes to auditing, they're not audited. And when it comes to even the law, obeying the laws of this country, supposing that they insisted that, okay, pay us double because that's what's the Diplom rule. They said, no, even double we will not accept because we're not governed by Kenyan laws. So how do you operate in Kenya as a bank and you're not subject to Kenyan laws? So those are the things that were declared unconstitutional. They have not argued against that. They are now arguing that they want to be given more time to operate outside the Constitution. That is what now we are fighting in court in the Constitutional Court. So it was a mafia, right? The officials who are involved in this particular matter are facing criminal charges in court. They have gone to the Constitutional Court again to say that they have diplomatic immunity, which is outrageous because diplomatic immunity does not protect you from criminal charges. I mean, an ambassador cannot rape their house help and say they have diplomatic immunity. Whatever is criminal is criminal. So in this particular case, they are facing criminal charges on this matter. And they had no response except that we are immune.
I mean, beyond Tuju, the politician, the businessman, Tuju who's in court fighting the EADB, there is Tuju the person, Tuju the individual father out there. And we see immediately after that there is what happened at home, you with the Council of Elders and decisions that you did made. How has this been for you as an individual, for your children and the community that you do serve?
Well, definitely my children are very traumatized. My children don't even want me. When I leave home now, they insist on asking me, where are you going? Who are you going with? Who is the driver? And who is the security detail? They almost want to know, even as I'm here now, they want to know that I'm here. I have security to tell them, yes, we have arrived at SpiceFM. And when I leave this place, they'll want to make sure they'll follow throughout that where which road are you in at the moment. So it's very, very traumatizing to my kids, extremely traumatizing. But I think that there are many Kenyans going through worse situations. There are Kenyans who are being robbed of their property. They don't have the same kind of public the public have not noticed their problem, so they're going through very painful processes, but without the kind of moral support that I'm getting from Kenyans.
So what happens now? Is it a kind of wait and see situation? Will business continue at Dari? Do you wait for the court to pronounce themselves further? What happens today?
Well, I mean, the fact that there's a police station at my Dari business park, there's nothing I can do that. I mean, it's the government to decide when they want to move out of that particular position. As I said, I did see the Inspector General. That's as high as you can go in the police force. And, I could see the look of an innocent man. So to that extent, I can only say that there's the members of the executive, the political class. The IG's office is supposed to be an independent office, and he should obey the law and apply the law. In this particular instance, they are in my premises, outside the law. So it's just impunity. How long this will continue, I don't really know. But I'm in court. I'm fighting the criminal in the magistrates' court, where the EADB is facing criminal charges. They've been able to stall it by going to High Court to say that they have got diplomatic immunity. Interestingly, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs have also weighed in on this and say that there's no diplomatic immunity for criminal cases. That is the Vienna Convention. They cannot do it in another way. But that case has been kept on ice for the last 1 year. The Constitutional Court is also considering the matters. It was declared unconstitutional. They are now asking for more time to rectify the act, which is the act which has enabled them to operate with so much impunity. They're asking for 2 more years, but they don't have any place in this because, the acts can only be done by Parliament, not by EADB. But they do seem to have a lot of influence, even in Parliament itself. They've been able to stall this process in Parliament for the last 1 year. But what I know is that the truth is very stubborn. And some people may be holding the clock, but they cannot hold the time. And sometimes when people have the clock, they think they actually have the time.
I mean, there is the bank, there is the Republic of Kenya, there is the judiciary. There is conversations that the individual at the bank said he does not have authority, but you gave them the proposal. Is there any move with the proposal that you gave, or have they gone silent? And in the light of everything that is happening, what's the way forward for you? What's the way forward for the bank? What's the way forward for the case? And for the individual who has your title?
Well, I think that's what's supposed to be dealt with in court. I don't want to prosecute my case on air. But I think that what is on trial is also our judiciary. A judicial officer has been accused for being involved in corruption. The EACC have got the evidence. That particular individual in the judicial office, a judge actually, has gone to court to stop that the EACC should stop investigating her. I think that there's an interesting development, because if you have nothing to hide, you present yourself to the EACC, which just got the mandate to investigate allegations of corruption, and say, hey, this is the position. I mean, if those people are arrested, they must have been just impersonating me, and I've got nothing at all to do with this. But there's enough triangulation which connects her to those people, and I don't want to get into that because I'm a witness in the court process. So, how can this, the country is in a lot of challenges. I mean, the Supreme Court itself, I did write a letter that we're going to approach the Supreme Court again, because after all, they had problems with Abid Nasir, they had problems with Havi. So their problems with me, I think, is something that we can be able to resolve. Because I never asked the judges to recuse themselves. They recused themselves on their own motion, so to speak, because I knew that that's the final court. So let's see how it plays.
Definitely want to see how it plays. It was good to get some clarifications in terms of what has been happening. Things that play themselves out in the court of public opinion then oftentimes need public explanation. Thank you. Thank you for being here with us this morning, Raphael. Can't run away from saying I wish you definitely all the best in all of this, and that, like you said, you may hold the clock but you don't hold time, and the truth is stubborn. It will come out at some point. Thank you for being here this morning, and we look forward to a time when some of these things can actually be sorted out and people can move on.
Thank you, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to explain myself.
For sure. Good morning. 8 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is Daniel Zoya. I'm Sheila Tembor. Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja and DCI Director Mohammed Amin faced tough questioning from the Senate Security Committee on Thursday. The two officials appeared before the committee to respond to inquiries over the attack on Vihiga Senator Godfrey Otsotsi, as well as a shootout during an Isiolo by-election campaign in which Isiolo Senator Fatuma Dulo narrowly escaped unharmed. Senator Osotsi also criticized Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen for claiming that the attackers had fled to a neighboring country. Meanwhile, Kisumu Senator Tom Ojenda came under scrutiny after being mentioned as the alleged sponsor of the attackers, a claim he strongly denied.
Our country is safe and secure. The Cabinet Secretary has been making inconsistent statements on my matter. The other day, he claimed that these assailants had run out of the country. The information I have, and which is being provided by the people of Kisumu, is that these assailants, some of them are in Kisumu, others have been transported to Nakuru. Some of the people who attacked me are also working for Senator Ojenda.
Senator Ososi, welcome. While I'm still on the chair, let me indicate that I had nothing at all. You're out of order, Chair. No, I'm just telling you, I had nothing to do with. You're out of order. You know, Senator Sifuna orders in Sifuna. I'm the chair. You're out of order. Senator Haji, you should assume the chair, and so these proceedings can continue with the
It is important to talk to my friend. Come into that. Yes, you're my friend.
You're one of the people who should record statements. What are you saying?
Senator Sifuna, order.
Interior PS Raymond Omolo was also implicated by some senators who described him as a key suspect and called for him to appear before the committee to provide further information.
We cannot proceed with this matter when the principal suspect has not recorded a statement. One, Dr. Raymond Omolo.
Chair, I think you can adjourn that matter for us to be able to have that conversation when the CS and the PS is here.
I'm being asked, there are gaps in my statement. When the prime suspects have not been interrogated apart from writing statement. When the governor who stood there and said that I know who did the shooting.
Nobody is untouchable. If there is evidence to show that they were the perpetrators, persons who committed this shooting, then appropriate action will be taken against these two suspects.
Everyone who committed an offense there will have his time to stand before a court of law.
United opposition leaders now says they are gathering evidence to sue President William Ruto at the ICC, accusing him of alleged killings carried out by what they describe as government-hired criminals. The leaders, including DCPs Rigathi Gachagua and Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, claim there is a strong link between the gangs and the police. They have also criticized Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen and the police, accusing them of failing to act against the groups and enabling alleged land-grabbing incidents in Kiambu.
Ukiendelea na tabia ya kusema vijana wa Kenya wapigwe risasi, bila shaka tutakurudisha ICC.
Huyu Kasongo na Murkomen na Nixon Koril na Oscar Sudi wanaweka magun, wanavamia mashamba ya Wakikuyu, wanataka kunyakua hiyo mashamba kwa sababu Kasongo ameuza kila kitu. Kenya imekwisha chini ya Kipchumba Murkomen na Douglas Kanja. Gunism is part and parcel of the National Police Service. Ati wahuni guns wanatembea na gari ya polisi na fimbo wakiuliza watu. Sasa nimeona Kanja umesema ati umejua guns ni nani, ati mkutano ya Linda Mwananchi Kisumu itakuwa ya amani. Hiyo ni mzuri bwana Kanja. Nataka utangaze sio hiyo mkutano ya Linda Mwananchi peke yake, mikutano yote Jamhuri ya Kenya.
And the Public Accounts Committee has raised concern over what it terms as costly financial mismanagement in government projects, warning that taxpayers continue to lose millions through unavoidable interest penalties caused by delayed payments. These emerged during a session chaired by Butere MP Tindi Mwale as lawmakers examined the 2023-2024 Auditor General's report on the State Department for Irrigation. PS Ephanthas Kimotho was questioned over audit findings linking delays in payments to ongoing infrastructure projects. The Thiba Dam project was singled out, with the Auditor General flagging a 42.12 billion shillings payment in interest penalties due to delayed settlement of contractor dues, which the report says was avoidable. PS Kimoto attributed the delays to underfunding and irregular exchequer releases. Lawmakers, however, warned of a wider pattern of financial losses, with calls for urgent action to address delays in government funding and prevent further waste of public resources. And that's the news wire. I'm Sheila Tembur.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
We look at the utterances of leaders who are aligned to broad-based, who are initially in ODM. We thought they stand for something. Now they've been exposed.
Because we are a third world country, we are poor. And not because we don't have resources, but we have been robbed senseless.
Look at the wasteful expenditure. Look at how large government lives. And we've said this is something that can be controlled. It happens in many other countries.
Internally, we used to stand and tell him, boss, hiki kitu ni mbaya. And you'd say, now he doesn't let me tell you, you saw the other parliamentary group meeting. People went there, sat, listened, looked at him. There was no plenary, left.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
He himself actually has admitted that he bribed members of parliament.
He admitted that he bribed members of parliament?
Well, when he said
the government,
when he said that he gave the 10 million was for what?
We're always quick to point faults in somebody else before you look at your own faults as a person.
If it was Kanu's day, hii amuka naye leo ungekuwa umeenda bali sana hii. So we must celebrate you.
There are 600 million people now globally estimated to be living with diabetes in the world. So it is a major health problem. It's the largest single disease rising pandemic that we're dealing with right now.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
A very good morning to you. It is 8 minutes after 8 o'clock. That's fun. We did 7 after 7. And now we're doing 8 after 8. Let's see if we can be a bang on the money for 9 after 9. But all right, we continue with our conversations this morning. We're taking the week in review from a youth perspective, and to say that how involved are we bringing in this 70% of the population into this conversation, whether they want to be from an audience point of view or from a leadership point of view. There are many things that did happen this week politically in terms of governance and what we're looking forward to into the next couple of days, and what it actually means for the direction in which the country will go in the next 1 year. To help us out in this conversation today, National Youth Leader Njeri Kahiga is here with us this morning. Good morning, Njeri.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very good.
Yes?
Yeah.
We know that your finger is on the pulse and that your eye is on things, so we're going to get your opinions through this today.
Thank you.
Joined by Odanga Pesa, who is the Secretary General of the Agano Party, also here with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, thank you.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Thank you for being here today. Before we get into things, because we know that it's going to be warmed up quite some, Dennis has taken us to Egypt this week.
Yes.
We'd love to get your interpretation of the proverbs.
107 million people is the population. Suez Canal is the lifeline of the country, pretty much, because it handles close to 15% of the global trade. But the proverb that we get from them, the beautiful is beautiful, even right after rising from the sleep. How would you interpret it? Ladies, go first.
Oh, okay. So you want us to interpret
the beautiful is beautiful, even right after rising from the sleep. What do you think Egyptians are saying?
In this case, the sleep is the country, the continent.
Whichever way you want to interpret it.
You see, this issue is a global issue. And I think that we have little to no control about it, and the people who are involved have to personally maybe figure it out and come to some maybe agreement. But what is going to happen is that we have now come to a situation where in this generation now, the kind of wars that people get into are not just wars about them, because today we are being told the cost of fuel in Kenya is rising because of the war that is going on. But in the next few years or so, as the global village takes up technology and everything else, maybe we would talk, when you talk about the beauty, is that we can't avoid it, but we need to know how to manage it in future, that even if there is a problem, it does not hit us as up. You see, the problem we have in Kenya is that the shield we have in terms of our economy is a very thin line, such that if anything happens, even in Tanzania, Uganda, just in East Africa, we are born to get affected immediately.
But then how do you interpret it?
Thank you. I think it's a question of responsibility and sustainability in terms of planning. To an extent that, just like she has said, we must cushion ourselves by building a responsible culture whereby we build our own systems to an extent that we shouldn't be easily faulted or not strong when things happen around our neighborhood. So it's building a culture of strong institutions and responsibility. To an extent, we remain firm no matter what comes abreast. Thank you.
Okay, and that remains, isn't it? All right. Certain things happen. Let's start from last weekend. Getting into this week, what seems to take the day in the country at the moment is the politics of the day and what will happen in the next election. And there's a lot of scrambling towards that. So, Njeri, from where you sit, how are things looking? Is it starting to settle, or are things up in the air?
In terms of, politics is not literally just the political, when we go to politics rallies and everything. I think the state of the nation is quite a mess in terms of our education, in terms of our healthcare, in terms of development. We are way behind what the financial years should have provided. For now, 3 years, slightly head into the fourth financial year. And I think that the leaders we have in office have made deliberate decisions to ensure that the speed in which they take our taxes is not the speed in which they deliver what they should deliver with our taxes. And the speed is becoming a problem. And again, we are heading to a financial year conversation. And I'm going to be worried if again we are told an increment of taxes, because it is not a problem when we pay taxes. Nobody has a problem with paying taxes, but we cannot be paying taxes with a speed of 200. Then you want to bring us development with a speed of 5, if not 3. And in the same country, you want the speed of your expenditure to be very high, but when it comes to the delivery to Mwananchi, it's very slow. Kenyans are asking, in a country where we have 8 million per day for the deputy president to fly around in a chopper, but we don't have capitation for education. Kenyans are also asking, in a country where the president is the one who is starting fights with private institutions like the Nairobi Hospital, but nobody is concerned about Kenyatta National Hospital, which serves more numbers and a bigger number of people who are quite vulnerable. But the president is more concerned about a hospital that is already making profits. He's only interested in whatever, as a person, as an individual, he can make out of that hospital. But when we look at our healthcare, it's collapsing. We are talking about Daily Nation headlines where they're telling us that SHA has debts to county government amounting to how much? 8 billion. That's a lot of money for county governments. We are crippled in devolution. And the moment we cripple devolution, we are left at the mercies of a national government that has no intention at all to give the same services, because if you devolved a service, then you have no mechanism to give the service if the devolved collapse. And again, we are heading to a situation where political activities are fully funded, but fundamental activities don't have funding. We are heading to a crisis of being told IBC needs more funding. The ballot box will have to get to Turkana, but today, food basics, just basics there are not able to get to their location because of bad roads, insecurity. There will be fully secured IEBC stations and all these. Kunakuwa na polisi wanatumwa everywhere in the country during elections to safeguard boxes. But today Kenyans have been killed left, right and center from insecurity. Even back in the villages, just normal security. You know, we come from a country where right now it's possible that a Land Cruiser is not having fuel when you need it to come arrest a robber. But I tell you, when maandamano comes, they have full tank to chase around the young people. We have gone to an extent of our ambulances. Ukipiga saizi kwa ambulance wanakuambia kwanza tuingie petrol station tukunywe mafuta na ni wewe uweke hiyo mafuta. We don't have emergency services nowadays because institutions are underfunded, institutions are crippled, but at the end of the day, guess what? We have a country where goonism is more lucrative than the jobs and the funding that government is giving to young people. You know, government is giving 22,000 for Nyota Fund.
Yes.
But it pays 30,000 for goons to show up in political rallies.
Oh, so is that the going rate for goons today?
So which one is the better rate? You see, in this country, we say there are no jobs, but I think kuna kazi kama unaweza kubali kuwa goon and it is paying well and you are given security because the police and the goons work hand in hand. And if you are a goon who is more visible, you might end up being a member in a board of maybe a hospital, of maybe these big institutions. But you don't need any other qualification. You just need to be a goon enough that the government ensures uko mahali unapangwa.
Odanga, how would you rate the situation that the country finds itself in, especially the week that we find ourselves? So we have the fuel issue, we have no capitation to schools. How would you rate the situation in the country?
Thank you so much. I think, like I said in the beginning, you know, I'm a political scientist by profession, and we are in a country whereby politics run entirely our life. Each day we talk politics, day in, day out. And most of the time it has put us, we as Kenyans, we complain each day. Complain about the government, complain about the private sector, and also complain even about our own self. I think we are at a situation whereby there's a lot of politics going on, whereby what the young people are trying to push, maybe the government of the day is not listening to them. We are at a situation whereby we are also not sure whether the young people understand the political seasoning we are in and what they need to do as we head to the election. Because we've had issues of increase in fuel prices, we are having a lot of corruption scandals. The question we may be asking ourselves is, how did we get to where we are today? Because unless you are able to understand how you got into a problem, you may not really get a solution out of it. And it is a question of, are we really doing enough in terms of political mobilization, political realignment to understand? Because if we do not deal with the problem, after 2027, we'll still have the same problem continuing, whereby we'll have people saying the government has done this, the government has done that. And that becomes a question of who do we elect to the National Assembly, because these are the people who have been tasked with making laws and ensuring that what the citizens want is done. We have a parliament that has not been so considerate in trying to understand what are the needs of our people. In extent, we have a parliament that has danced with the executive to do what the executive want. So we are at a time whereby we have to understand that we need a robust, stable parliament that will be able to take the initiative to ensure that whatever the national government is doing is in line with what the citizens want. Because if we don't cure that, we'll still continue with the culture of problems. That's why, like my sister here said, a goon will be appointed a member of a hospital board, while there is another that is serving young people who will not get it. We will not have a problem with him being appointed, but we are saying, can the appointment meet, the credit that it deserves?
Many would say they have a problem with that appointment.
So, because in terms of, if you take somebody who does not have the know-how and put him in a docket that is so serious, that is health, then what communication are we putting out there? So I think it's a question of us, we young people, and even the general population, to understand what type of leaders are we electing? Because if we have a parliament that is not stable, it's not stable in making laws, ensuring that, that's why you see they will sit and just vote in anything without really caring. Does it hurt our own people. We'll get into 2027 still electing the same people and get to 2032 still lamenting. So I think we need to build responsibility and ask ourselves, what kind of leaders are we voting in? And it starts with us in terms of how we're mobilizing ourselves to ensure that we take this process on a serious front and bring in people who will understand what we want as a nation, so that we don't build a culture of complain today, complain tomorrow. Let's, for the first time, take it a bit serious. Say we are tired with these headlines of I don't know who has looted what, I don't know who has been appointed to what board, and we want to see young people taking the voters card, coming out, voting fellow young people who understand what our nation is as per time. You know, sometimes I say we may be complaining, not knowing the people who we are taking our issues with may not really understand what is the real issue that is affecting our people today. Thank you.
Is there an authentic care about these things that you speak about? Because who are the people who are filling these rallies, for example, where handouts are being given? And please note, I said the rallies where handouts are being given. Who's filling those spots? The rallies where even the goons that you speak about, who is offering themselves for these positions? It's the same people that we talk about that on one hand will support a government, on another hand will not support. Who are the people that are filling these halls, stadia, that are getting the handouts, that are not even listening to what's happening during the day, are waiting for the end of the program so they can get what who are they?
You see, government has a tendency, or rather the political class that has been there for a long time, has created a system whereby we put these people in a situation where they have no choice. In that they are going to vote for us because they listen to our very good manifestos. They are going to listen to a manifesto that when they listen, they feel that, you know, this manifesto is speaking on my behalf. It's going to solve my problems. But then when they get into office, what they do is the opposite. They ensure that they have crippled down the same voter who had so much hope. So this voter is left in a situation of saying, because this leader is already in office for now 3 years, it's heading to now, 15 months to elections. What do I have to gain from this leader? Let me go to his rallies, nikule pesa yake, then I'm going to vote them out. But what in most cases they forget is the responsibility, the back stops with the voter. Because I sometimes, as a young person who is vying for Women Rep Nyandarua County, keep telling the voter that as long as you have made it your business as Kenyans, that every 1 year to elections or 2 years to elections is when you're going to make money. We're never going to have elections. We will only be having people opening businesses and others closing. Closing ni wenye wanafukuzwa. Opening business ni wenye wanaingia. So what has happened is just an interchanging of traders. Huyu alikuwa anauza sukari, mwingine ameingia anauza unga, lakini wote wata-inflate bei. So we need as voters to understand that an election process needs to have responsibility from both the voter and the one being voted for, because unfortunately the Kenyan voter has raised the bar so high for a leader to occupy office. They have set standards very high. We need you to do this. When you go there, you need to do this. Oh, before we elect you, you need to do this. But the same voter, when it comes to what he should do as a patriotic voter, the bar is non-existent. The voter wants you, as a young person like me who is 25 years, to go through, cut through the whole of Nyandarua County. When we meet, after I talk to them, they ask me, unatuacha aje, unatuachia nini? They expect you to leave them with chai and some matumbo. They expect you to show up in burials and at least give some contribution to the funeral preparations. And remember, the voter needs to understand there is no allocation in government that is called pesa ya mchango, pesa ya mazishi, pesa ya harusi, pesa ya rorashio. There is no such contributions. Those are the money that any politician brings in those events is supposed to be his personal contribution. And let's be honest, we can't be having personal contributions of an MP in a month running to 4 or 5 million, yet his salary is less than $1 million. So where is this deficit coming from? From your taxes. But you as a voter, you've listened to people tell you, huyu lazima tumfukuze akujangi ground. They are willing to kick out a member of parliament who is ever actively doing legislation representation in parliament.
But are they though? Njeri, are they? Are people today? This is the thing. Is there the connection between this person who is at the center of representation? Let's take a member of parliament. It could be a senator. It could be a member of the county assembly. Is there the realization that in the last so many years, it could be 5, it could be 10, it could be 15, that we have not seen that representation, legislation, oversight taking place as a result of this person, and that my next decision will be to remove this person because I see that, and it's not being caught up in the furor or the lovely feelings of an election? Are people finally making the connection between, in order for good governance and leadership to take place, you need to have the right person? Are people actually making that connection today and saying, if I'm going to get from point A to point B, this person is what is standing in my way, remove them, put the correct person?
That is why I was saying the problem comes with both the voter and the person in parliament or county assembly. The standards they give each other are not what the constitution entails, because I can tell you for a fact, there are politicians who have survived in parliament, county assemblies, because they don't like to show up in any burial, they don't like to show up in any wedding, they show up in all social activities. But when you go to Bunge, look at what they have done in terms of laws, nothing. What they have done in terms of legislation, nothing. You go to Bunge, wow, they've never talked. The only time they opened their mouth is drinking water and saying, yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. But those people are able to sustain ground with handouts. And unfortunately, the voter does not, information is there. The voter understands that these guys should go to represent them. But again, the poverty levels in this country have made it very difficult for the voter to sustain what a voter should have about a leader. The expectations of a voter are beyond what the mandate of a leader are in this country. But on the other side, when the political class realized that these people don't even know what I should do, they took advantage and made sure, as long as I'm able to attend social events, as long as I'm able to sustain handouts, I am at a good place. But the Kenyan voter right now who attends rallies, both in opposition, both in government, both of them are there to make money. Both of them are there to hope that after this rally, tutapewa unga, tutapewa 200, tutapewa sukuma. Right now in Olkalao constituency, where I come from, Nyandarua County, we are heading to a by-election. And the conversation there is very sad. Nobody's talking about we are going to elect a leader. It is literally a conversation about bravado, political bravado. Which party is going to outshine which party? Number 2, the people there, the conversation around the people in government is, we are going to pour money. We are going to pour money. Let's see who has more money. The voter there, on the other hand, is saying, it's my time to eat. Mbeere North, walikuwa na yao. Kakamega, walikuwa na yao. Narok, walikuwa na yao. It's now my turn to eat. This voter is going to eat money from these politicians who are coming to seek position. This politician will go to power for 1 year and 15 months with a deficit of 50 million. How do you recover 50 million within 15 months? You can only ensure that the financial year 2026, 2027, yote, by the time tunafika August, umechukua half the amount. Ndio you, if your budget is 200 million, you take half the amount, then you recover your 50 million and you make your 50 million. Now, who do we blame in this situation? We blame the both people. The person mwenye alitoa hiyo pesa akaenda akamwaga, and the person who received the money. So what I am sustaining as a conversation as a young person, we must have standards for both the voter and the leader. As long as one bar is non-existent, the movement of the wheel is never going to be proportional.
Odanga, for a very long time it's been said that politics is a dirty game. Stay away from it, And it is through such notion that you find good individuals who want to get to these positions have stayed away because it's been labeled as a bad game. You're talking about young people here wanting to change the game, but to be able to change this game, it has to be done through political parties and proper organizing. You know what I mean? So are we seeing young people organizing themselves to get into these political parties, take these positions, and take the agenda down to the people to explain why they're running, why they are a good alternative, and how they're coming to change the game? Because what Njeri is highlighting will not change if good individuals do not get into these political spaces to change the story. Are these conversations the young people are having, or are young people only there to be used and be dropped immediately after the elections?
Thank you for that question. Maybe before I respond to it, I wanted to. She had asked about, where is the problem? And I think I would say the problem is with the young people. I wouldn't blame much of the political class because when you're trying to fight a system, you need to understand your own standing. I think to add up to what you are saying, we young people, I will say there's a scholar who said the African voter is the most corrupt voter. Yeah, to an extent, we put our demands out there and we still expect those people to meet the demands. But those people have already bought us even before they get into power. And the question we are asking about, are young people participating in political parties? That is a very critical question because we've seen majority of our fellow young people do not understand the process. You see, in life, you cannot do away with principles. In election, you have to be in a political party, you have to participate, you have to either be a candidate, an aspirant. Look at how we got into the Gen Z maandamano that almost brought this country to a stop. And from that, personally, and even other like-minded, we thought by that we'll see a robust engagement of young people around political parties. But you see, we had this adage of we are tribeless, we are partyless, and all those kind of stuff. You cannot change a system over a day. Something that has been there over time, you have to build stamina to be able to counter it. And the only way young people are going to make this count is if we participate in political parties, by being members, by being aspirants, and by being officials. Because this election will be done in a polling station. This election will not be done on space. This election will not be done on the road during Mandamano. We have to go online and make it count. And for us to get the right leaders, even in the National Assembly, we have to vote our fellow young people or vote in even the other age groups who understand what we want as a nation. I think from where we are, I will say we are yet as young people to understand that election is a process. A process in the essence that we have to belong to political parties. We have to influence the decisions that are taken there for us to actively participate on the election. I still see young people waiting to be, told, come out and register as voters. And a good example is look at the 2022 election. A whole 7 million young people did not vote in the election. If you look at the IBC statistics.
Maybe if they were to vote, they would have their own president.
Yes. And right now we have close to 2 to 2.3 who are registering as voters. So that is coming to about 9 or 10 million. That is a group that if they decided they want to change the politics of this country, they will vote in young leaders. We'll see our sister here, Njeri, being voted in as women rep. We'll see all the way to the top. But you see, still the way how we are mobilized. These people have first ensured that young people, because of, as a nation, we have not done so much in terms of industrialization, in terms of job creations. So most young people do not have jobs. And all they do is they are now mobilized politically, come, we are going to give you handouts. And in the essence of that, it changes their decision and their power to vote. So I think what we should be doing now is to encourage young people to register as voters, to ensure they belong to political parties. If you ask many of them, they will tell you they are not in any political party. Some of them have been registered in different political parties and they are not even aware. They don't even know the political party they belong in. Such a person may not make a sound decision by the time they get to the polling station because he's not belonging to any ideology of any political party. He's not participating in that election. It is easy for such a person to be given 100 shilling on the voting day and he will vote in whoever has given him that money. And that's why I've said we will still get back to the same problem.
Okay.
So we need to build a culture of people understanding the politics is not dirty. It's only dirty if you do not understand the process. Because even in this same nation, we have good leaders who we see making headlines, doing one or two in terms of changing their societies. So it is us understanding, do we really love our country? And if we love our country, then we'll be concerned, do I belong to a political party? For instance, I'm a young person, I'm an SG of a Ghana political party, and there's a way we are trying to align ourselves to ensure, are we giving young people the space to belong to our party, to vie with our party? Because like I told you, you can never win on the street. You can never win on space. No matter how much you do here, we have to now go to the battlefield, which is the polling station. And that entails being a member of a political party so that you understand and you have an ideology. Then you vote in somebody who, when he's in office, you will hold them accountable and say, when you are campaigning, this is the ideology you told us.
Okay.
But if you are left on the street and, you know, we are left on the mandamano level, we may not really remove the system. We may not really change anything because we have not followed the process to the end.
Let's interrogate that a little bit more when we come back from this break, because then the question is, must you be a member of a political party to then understand and participate in political processes in the country today, where we know that a lot of times political parties are just used as a vehicle to then get to the position and not necessarily an ideologically based position about things that you want to see change in an economy or in society. So let's look at that a little bit more when we come back from this break. We're talking with Njeri and Odanga this morning. We'll come back at 25 minutes to 9. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Traffic.
All right, getting into the weekend with not too much in terms of traffic. There is a little bit of that coming towards the Pangani underpass off the Thika Superhighway. There is some traffic on Limuru Road, busy coming out of Gigiri, and then as you come in from the village market out towards the city, it's going to get a bit busy. Passing through Westlands, Peponi Road is busy. Also coming in from Lower Kabete, Spring Valley, you'll find some traffic on that area. In and outbound traffic around the Red Hill Link Road is busy. Some of that will feed off towards Waiakiwe and the rest of it towards Limuru Road. So that's what it kind of looks like. The CBD is busy. There's a crossover traffic on Langata Road today as you come in from Uhuru Gardens and the Southern Bypass on one side, and then as you get into the city, it's busy on Gong Road as well, crossing over from Gong Road through towards Riara Road. That construction is going to have some traffic in that area for a bit. North Airport Road is extremely busy, especially at that intersection with Outer Ring. All right, so that's what it looks like. Let's take a look at what this all turns out to be later. SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
Out and the fun is in. Feast your eyes and your kids' hearts on a feast like no other with StarTimes. Recharge your monthly subscription today and get upgraded to the next high bouquet for 1 full month. Turn your home into a world of adventure with Bluey on CBeebies, playful giggles on Baby TV and Jim Jam, learning that feels like play on Mindset Learn, non-stop action with the Batman on Toonami and the Powerpuff Girls on Boing, endless fun with SpongeBob on ST Kids, and thrilling wins with Super Strikers on ST Tunes. Unlock your upgrade today. Simply renew your subscription on your current bouquet and we'll automatically move you to the next high bouquet for 30 days. Dial *858# or call us on 0719 077 077 for customer care. Download the StarTimes on app to take the fun wherever you go. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
Feeling unwell? Do not search your symptoms. Find a trusted healthcare provider near you. The Aga Khan University Hospital has brought specialized world-class care to your neighborhood. Our conveniently located clinics offer specialist clinics, diagnostics, and pharmacy services, ensuring you and your family receive the best. See your cardiologist, pediatrician, gynecologist, family physician, surgeon, diabetologist, gastroenterologist, neurologist, pulmonologist, among other consultants near your home. For families along Mombasa Road, we've got you with medical centers at the following locations: Capital Center Mall, Imara Shopping Mall, Syokimau, Machakos Town. Visit any Aga Khan University Hospital Medical Center in your hood today or call 0730 011 888. Aga Khan University Hospital, world-class care, here and now.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, we're continuing our conversation now at 21 minutes to 9 o'clock, and looking at the week in perspective. And this is actually something that has been said quite often, Notanga, that in order for youth to participate in this political process and have a say in who becomes your leader tomorrow, or if you will be a leader in this space, that you must join a political party. And so people struggle with this because in as much as there are younger people in this, in these positions today, the times that have changed also dictate that people don't want to be boxed in And that's kind of like what a political party does. This happens in the same space where I will go and register a political party to suit my needs at that point, not necessarily because there's some ideological direction I want to take for the country. So how do we get people to say, you must join a political party, you must then have the numbers, you must follow an ideology, when I can wake up today and say, okay, wait, you chased me from your party. Then I can go independent, or I can say, the Four Cousins Independent Political Party, we can start something today, we can go, we be registered and we move. What ideology is it based on? It's not.
Thank you for that. I think I would say that's why parties are democratic. Democratic in the essence that if you join them and do not agree to the ideology, you are free to move to another one and still even go independent or create your own. The reason they say a wise man learns, when you look at the 2027 election, is turning out to be more of, it's going to be a party election. That's why you see a lot of parties coming out. You see, you cannot change the system over a day. What you have to do is you have to understand what the system is doing for you to be able to build capacity to counter it. And nobody has forced young people that it's a must. You have to join political parties. We are saying this is a political process. And in political process, people are organized around political parties. You are free to choose a political party to join. Number one, we are young people for your own mentoring. Number two, to be able to participate and vie. Number three, we said in 2027 we had 7 million people who did not vote. Most of them were young people. To add with the numbers registered now, that is close to 9 million. Why is it not possible for us to put our minds together and create a party or come up with a party that represents what they want, if there are system changes or even problem changes with how they see the governance? When we say that we allow young people to go independent, the question is, imagine of a young person vying for governance and an independent candidate. Will they be able to build the capacity to be able to participate? You know, when you're looking at an election, you look at it in terms of from an idealistic point and also from a realistic point of view. Looking at the 2027 election, we see a lot of parties coming in, so there will be a lot of party politics play. You see, we can't then now say, it's not a must, I belong to a political party, I am being forced, I don't believe in this idea. That's why even in parliament, how comes nobody goes and is voted to sit in your home alone, you don't go to a parliament? It's because that is an established body where people go to make laws. You may have your own reservations and a few ways to see things, but you still have to go there. The same way we are saying, we are talking about parties because you even see the ODM and the UDA. You see even the president, immediately he landed back in the country. What he did was to have a meeting between the UDA and ODM to try and sort out the issues of zoning and what have you. You see the other side being led by former deputy Rigad. They're doing a lot of party politics. You see almost 3 parties were launched in these months and given certificate. That tells you that going to 2027, we'll have a lot of parties. So you see, if we understand that is the way to understand these guys and remove them or change what we do not want, then we also have to come up and participate or belong to a political party. Because if we shy away and say being in a political party is an old way of doing things, I'm an independent mind, I can just go on the street, and say, I don't like politics, I don't like what's happening in governance, therefore I'm going to vote out. The essence of political parties, political mobilization. We've seen the former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga, the late, why he was able to, control a lot of ideologies around, because most of his members were organized around a political party. There's an ideology they believed in. So even we as the young people, we also have to build an ideology around a political party. There are some people, I can tell you, will wake up and they don't know even who they are going to vote. But just because they belong to a political party, they will remember, in my political party, we agreed this is the presidential candidate, you can never have an equality whereby everybody will know what they are doing. This is a society. So if we leave it at an independent level, that's why you saw we build a good move. We had the Maandamanos in June, which changed the politics of this country from a lot of tribalism to issue-based politics. But we could not sustain the momentum because we lacked a tool of mobilization. For us to get these young people to come out, fellow young people, and vote, we must have a mobilization tool. That is why the political party comes in, so that we are united with ideology. When I look at my sister Njeri, I have not even cared too much to ask her which political party she belongs. But there are issues she's talking which resonates with what I believe in as a person. If we believe we belong to a political party, which is one. It will be easy for us to get others like minds to come and join us to push together. But if we stand on our own, each person is independent, it will be hard to build that momentum. Thank you.
Njeri, there is a position that has been said for a very long time. The political parties that we have today are being run by individuals who've been there for 50, 60. They've been there long enough not to want any change to happen, And the young people with where they find themselves, starting from 2024, 2025, 2026 Niko Kadi campaign, look at the organizing that the young people are doing. But with that organizing and the political parties that do exist today, do young people have a stake? Or are they there again to just tick boxes? Have young people positioned themselves as those that want to change the agenda and how these parties are being run? Or are they just there again to say, chama yetu imeleta vijana, but vijana wako pale kuangaliwa, sio kusikizwa?
First of all, I'm a member of DCP party that is led by Rigathi Gachagua. And as a member of DCP party, I didn't just join DCP party one morning. I listened to the people of Nyandarua and they told me, yeah, you can be a good women rep, but our ideologies and the people who are pushing our issues and raising our concerns, we see them more in DCP party. And as a person who wants to lead people, you have to lead people from where they want. You can only, you see, democracy is about numbers. And unfortunately, we are not told which numbers, they are just numbers. So if the numbers in my county as a young person are leaning towards this political party, I need to ensure that I join the party. I take charge of what I can be in that party, whether I want to be an active member, whether I want to be an inactive member, whether I want to be part of the policies that are being made, the youth manifestos, economic ones, women charters and all this. And again also, we as young people, of course, by the virtue of lack of funding, have not been able we've not been able to come up with a party that particularly the party leader is a young person. Reason being, when you go to ORPP, the requirements for you to own a party, you have to have physical offices in a certain number of counties, more than half the counties. Before they give you that certificate, the financial cost that you're supposed to undergo as a group, the young people cannot afford that. Number two, ORPP has regulations that you just can't have a party of young people. You need to have the old agenda. So meaning, even in your NEC membership, in your other secretariat, you have to balance between the old, the young, and everybody. So it means even if a young person was to have a party, they have to still incorporate the older generation. They have to still incorporate different categories of people. But what I'm trying to, as a young person, do, because we will not always be there to say we don't have funding. Tomorrow we will have funding. Tomorrow we will be party leaders. What I think we need to make the Kenyan voter and the political space in Kenya understand is that we need to move away from having to have vehicles every other election. We need to try upgrade ourselves to the global way of doing politics, where you stand up for something. Today, when we talk of Democrats and Republicans, we know what they stand for. We don't even need to ask the person who is going to be voted for as a Republican what they'll stand for in terms of economy, what they'll stand for in terms of social policies. We don't need to ask. We know what those we know that side, what it stands for. They can only come in to voice, but the ideology is already there. It has a very strong foundation. So you either implement that or you get out and somebody else comes and implements. But unfortunately, the system that we have in the African countries, our ideologies have a timeline of a certain period. You know, what we stood for right now. Me, I was part of Azimio government that we tried having Baba as a president. But 1 year after elections, the ideologies he stood for, suddenly they changed and he went to broad-based government, and I was left asking, sasa huyu ameenda broad-based, mimi nimebaki opposition, you know. So as young people, what we need to do, we need to challenge status quo by giving civic education to because in the next 20-15 years, generations will be having a bare minimum of Form 4 education level. So they'll be able to, we will no longer be talking about civic education in Kikuyu language, in Kisii in Luo language, we'll be having at least a bare minimum of understanding how to read and write and understand what we need as a nation. But again, we need to grow a culture of we ourselves as voters funding political parties. Until voters agree to fund political parties, they'll never be independent, because somebody somewhere is seated with his 15 million and is wondering, which business do I open? Then he thinks of a hardware. No, it's not going to give me profit in time. Do I do a salon? No, it's not going to give me profit in time. But this 15 million, I can fund a party and they give me a slot for member of parliament nomination, and I have a salary like a member of parliament. I have powers and privileges of a power, So this person will look at it and say, instead of me doing this business, let me go take this 15 million to a certain individual, and I'm going to get this opportunity. It has been there. It has been happening. We would be lying to ourselves if we said that business is not happening in political parties. Today, when you hear a police station is being closed down because the person who had given this police station is no longer in the broad-based government, and he has decided, I will not renew your lease. If you look at it very well, you understand that the political class has understood how to hold hostage of very many institutions. Can you imagine a police station is being leased by an individual? We are yet now to hear, mimi nimechukua Land Cruiser yangu, nitakuwa nabeba nayo mboga. So what we are talking as Kenyans, we need to ensure that the voter again takes responsibilities. And because you see, when Obama was doing campaigns, we saw the $1 campaign. Today, when campaigns happen abroad, they are people oriented. So this person knows that whatever campaign money I spent is on these people. The Republicans fund their people. So these people go there with a lot of responsibility. Today, when we look at those global politics, I look at a woman who is called Kimi, and they say, if Kenyans would take it up upon themselves to bring in this culture of making sure that our institutions are independent. Because if I fund a political party, I am going to demand for what I want. And chances are, a young person who did not give the money, a young person who did not give products to that party, will have to be compromised. And that is why, as young people, we need to be open to understanding that these systems are very deeply rooted, that we cannot just wake up and fix them today. But because we are learning, so the problem is funding. So what do we need to do? We need to give civic education to the voter to fund. When the voter funds, a party is able to tell you. Because today, I will tell you, today, even if you are a murderer, even if you are a wash person, you walk into a political party with your 200 million, I am telling you, tomorrow, you will have your seat placed to the VIP section, and you will be treated with so much respect than a young person.
So there's a lot of work to do then.
There's a lot of work to do, I agree.
Because
that I agree.
The system is corrupted.
Very corrupted.
Essentially what we are
very
saying.
Corrupted.
So folks who are, you can't change it in a day, but then what are the inroads that you make towards changing that? Because we are saying that here we're saying, okay, get more people into the system. Have more people come and offer their services to run. There are people who are doing it today. They want to be the MCA because they've been talking and they say, okay, let's get involved. But what we are saying is that the system is already corrupted. It's already...
Soko ni chafu.
What we have to build capacity. As young people, we need to build capacity. And we also need to ensure that when we are moving towards the cleaning up of the system, we do it in a way that the lifespan of the changes are not just 5 years, are not just when you are there. You entrench them the same way they have entrenched corruption. Can you imagine today, we are talking about for you to vie for any elective position, the numbers are running in millions. So we need to move away from making politics in this country more about business opportunities, more about what money you made. There are people, by the way, who will this year withdraw money from banks. They no longer want to get profit from banks. They don't want to get the bare minimum. What are they called? Those profits that we get from the bank. They have seen, if I give a politician 10 million, atarudisha ikiwa 15 million. Lakini nikieka hii pesa kwa bank, it will not even make maybe that 1 million. So what we need to do, we need to agree. Me as a young person, mimi nimekubali. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. But also again, we need to amend our political parties' acts. We need to ensure that we as Kenyans have the knowledge, and we have leaders in parliament who can hold political parties into accountability. Because today we are talking about somebody was nominated by Jubilee Party, but you'll be seeing them attending PG, the UDA. Somebody was brought into office with ODM, but you will see them in rallies za DCP. We need to have accountability.
Why?
Because
Why does that
nothing
happen?
will be done to them.
So it
Nothing will
doesn't,
be done
because
to them.
what you're saying that it doesn't really, these political parties that Odanga is telling us we must join, it doesn't matter, because you can be a member of a political party, DCP, but then you're going to go for an ODM rally tomorrow and you're going to be shouting the slogan of that particular party. So it doesn't matter.
Like you see right now, as we speak today, the political parties, the institutions in this country, not only political parties, parliament, county assembly and everything else, has become an extension of the executive. By the way, today if you are in UDA and you are seen in opposition rallies, my friend, your files in EACC will suddenly pop up. But if you're in opposition and you attend a government rally, you are safe. You will even be funded. You will even be enticed to continue doing that. So what we need to change is these extension of executive into public institutions. The moment it's no longer about, the moment I am taken to parliament by DCP party and DCP party understands that I need to be a DCP member in terms of what I do in parliament, in terms of what I do for my people to the end. But sasa tukifika pale ODM wamefanya handshake na UDA. Ule mtu alisema slogan za Azimio inabidi aseme za broad base. So it becomes a whole mix up.
Let me bring in Odanga, briefly Odanga. Power is never given. Power is fought for, right? It's taken pretty much. And one asks the question, understanding how political parties play their games, right? Are the young people ready to take that power? Because no one will sit here and see you threaten my position and say, Baba, come, let's sit and have a conversation. You have to get into that space, get dirty, and fight for that power. But then again, you look at many young people who've been voted into office. They have let down the country. There's a conversation that we must have. So as people who want to get in, how do we change the story? Because many are saying, hata upigie a young person aingia pale. Yeye pia ataingia pale, be corrupted, soko itabaki kukua chafu.
That's why I said we just need to change our mindset and understand that we must love our country. So that if we get into these positions, Kenya is at our heart. Because, like, I agree with you, we also have fellow young people who have had the opportunity, and when they got into these offices, they were even worse, more than some of these people in the system we are talking about. So I think it's an issue of building a culture of responsibility and good leadership, because we are going to get into these offices, we are going to fight for it, but do we really stand for our nation? So that we not just also here saying we want young people to take over leadership, and then after 2027 young people take over. Like I know of a governor somewhere who is of a youthful age. By the time he got elected, there was a lot of hope that he was going to transform his county. But the man has turned the county into a hell to an extent they're even wishing they had the old man who was there before. So in an issue of really, do we as young people love our country? Or are we also fighting for a chance to eat?
Do you?
Yeah, I do. That's why
do you fight to eat or fight to love the country?
No, I will tell you, we must fight to love our country. Because if we have a country that is orderly and has a culture, each one of us will benefit. But if we have a country whereby even we young people, we are not fighting because we want to bring any change, we are fighting because it's also our time to eat. It will be a culture of eating, and there's nothing we are going to do to turn this country around. So I think it's a time we as Kenyans, a good example, I say, if you go to South Africa today, you see a proper controlled traffic because they love their country, they understand the order. If you come to Kenya, it is totally opposite. As you are waiting for the traffic lights, you see your colleague like as if he has not seen the traffic light. That draws to how are we cultured as Kenyans to understand leadership? Because you will find a situation whereby young people will also make noise. We have young people who have been elected into very critical positions, but they have ended up even doing worse than the predecessors who are there of a different age group. So I think what we are asking for and what we need to do as young people is we also need to understand what is leadership, what are we stepping into, and what do we want to achieve, so that we don't step in and, because most of these old guys keep saying young people cannot be trusted with leadership. You entrust them with leadership, they will turn out to be more worse. And if you look at the 2022 parliament, has a good number of young people in terms of representation of members of parliament. We've not seen them come out aggressively to push for bills and agendas that will secure the jobs of our fellow young people. So that brings the question is, are we also prepared to take up the mandate of being great leaders and bring the change? Or are we looking for the time to also join in and enter and eat?
Or if they're coming out, they're few in number. I mean, we can't run away from the likes of Njeri Minor, who is really pushing for some things and doesn't sleep on and we're not applauding her because it's her job. She said she was going to do it, but we can't also run away from the recognition that it deserves to say that, well, there's somebody who came out as a young person and said, I'm going to do this, and is actually doing it. Our time runs out, but I mean, it's clear from these conversations that certain things have come into the public arena that cannot be hidden anymore. Do you love your country? Are you ready to fight for it? Well, here's an opportunity to do just that. Thank you both for being here with us this morning. National Youth Leader, she's with the DCP party, Njeri Kahiga, joined by the SG of the Agano Party, Odanga Pesa. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Looking forward to the next time. Good morning, 9 a.m.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is Daniel Zwaya. I'm Sheila Tembor. The government will invest in Uganda's oil refinery as part of efforts to strengthen ties between the two countries. Speaking at the Africa We Build Summit in Nairobi, President William Ruto said the move follows Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni's investment in shares of the Kenya Pipeline Company, despite the government having sold the shares at a high price.
President Museveni called me and said, I want to buy 50% of Kenya Pipeline. And he told me, I don't care the price. That's how serious he was. When some other pessimists in Kenya were saying, oh, you know, the price is very high, I don't know. You know, President Museveni could see beyond the price.
There's another 60% which we have not which is not yet fully explored. So there's more oil in Uganda, both within Albert and in the other provinces. So therefore, I support this idea of the Tanga refinery. We shall maintain our small refinery because we have really gone ahead. We are very far.
The government has praised a community health program credited with reducing teenage pregnancies in Kilifi County. Statistics shows that the rate in Kilifi South has dropped from 21% to 15% after 3 years of implementation. The project, run by the Community Health Promotion Fund in partnership with the German Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, focuses on reproductive health education for young people and parents. Speaking in Mutwapa, Program Manager Ada Alela said the pilot project has been successful and should be expanded to reach more communities.
This is all about our partner support, the stakeholders in the community, including the administration, the Kilifi County. And this is not something we can say it is solved once. We need to sustain the gains. And I'm just calling towards many stakeholders, development partners, and even our local partners. Let's team together, one voice to sustain the gains. And we also upscale this to other areas of the county.
Deputy Commissioner for Kikambala, Minika Hamis Otieno, said the initiative has improved attitudes among both young people and parents, leading to greater openness on reproductive health issues.
Wale ambao wamekuwa katika hii project, machifu wetu, assistant chief na wale village elders, now that this program is coming to an end, wacha tukue the positive change ambayo inahitajika pale kwa community. Tuendeleze haya mazungumzo, isikue huu ndio mwisho. Ile mafunzo ambao wamepokea kupitia kwa huu mradi waweze kuescalate during barazas, during meetings, so that hii ujumbe iweze kufikia kila mtu na tuweze kuelimisha wasichana wetu na vijana wetu ya kwamba si vizuri kujihusisha katika ngono wakati bado unaendelea na masomo.
The Kenya Private Schools Association has elected new leaders during its AGM held today. Rosbella Nerima has been elected as the new chairperson of the association. Rono Philemon will serve as treasurer, while Boniface Otieno has been elected as national secretary. The new leadership has pledged to strengthen collaboration with the Ministry of Education to improve quality and equity in private schools across the country. The officials have also reaffirmed their commitment to working closely with the KICD to improve curriculum implementation and boost learning outcomes in private schools.
Key agendas, as the chairperson of Kenya Private School Association, are well stipulated in our constitution. And these key agendas is not to be in competition with the government, but to partner with the government to disseminate education. We partner with the government to be able to deliberate the national curriculum for our children and to improve quality and equity in our schools. It is not really a denial. Everything starts at a point, and progressively one day we will achieve. So it is not a denial.
And that's the news. I'm Sheila Tembur.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
Every time he kept on saying he wants a vibrant opposition.
How does it make sense that public money has been used for everything and then they dare to sell it back to you? Why are they not giving them for free?
That's how broken we are. That's how broken we are.
They're being sent home now for fees. They're going to fail to prepare. We are compromising the futures of these children.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we might find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice.
When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
We're getting into the final hour of the Situation Room for this week and also for today. Our Healthy Friday conversation is one that we will end with today, and it is a pain point for many people, not just the people who are physiologically affected by it, but the people who are also affected psychologically, socially, across board. And you don't want to talk about it because, it's embarrassing. Yes, we're going to talk about it because it's affecting people. So, get your comfortability cap on because you're going to need it this hour for us to talk about then the silent pressure that men go through. And we're talking about performance pressure today, the hidden crisis facing young men. Joining us in the studio is Dr. David Kimani. He's a urologist with the Kenyatta National Hospital and joins us this morning. Dr. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm well.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today.
Asante.
We're going to talk about this thing because affecting different people, whether it is the man himself or it's affecting his partner or whatever the case may be, and it has a play on how then people operate psychologically. But before we get into that, we want to welcome you with today's proverb, which Dennis is going to share, and we'd love to get your interpretation of it.
Yes. So, proverb comes from Egypt, but a few things about Egypt. Suez Canal important not only for the country but for the world, because around 15% of global trade passes through the Suez Canal. And you talk about the Nile River as well, which is important because it helps with fresh water and feeding agriculture for the people. But you talk about paper and ink. These are some of the technologies, inventions that originate from them. So if you go back to the biblical stories of the papyrus, so that is paper from back then, which we use today, and credit that to the people of Egypt. But let's go to the proverb. The beautiful is beautiful, even right after rising from the sleep. The beautiful is beautiful, even right after rising from the sleep. How would you interpret it?
What is beautiful, irrespective of the time of the day, irrespective of the season. If you are beautiful, you're beautiful. And people are going to appreciate that beauty.
Well said.
Indeed. So when we get into this conversation this morning and the pressure, that performance pressure, what are we relating this to?
Thank you. We are relating to a condition we call erectile dysfunction. And by definition, erectile dysfunction is the persistent inability to either initiate an erection or maintain an erection sufficient for sexual performance for both the man and the partner. And it's an important topic. And if we go back, there's a quote by one Roy Tolstoy, who's a Russian writer, who said that man survives earthquakes, experiences the horrors of illnesses and the pains of the soul. But the greatest tragedy of all time remains and will always be the tragedy of the bedroom. That tells you how important this topic is for many people. And we are here to demystify it so that men can know, one, what are the expectations, and number two, importantly, to know that there is help somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, many hear erectile dysfunction, and I'll just use this and say, ameshindwa kulima shamba. You know, but what exactly is it and what causes it? Because many would say, today, I wasn't in the mood, so I slept. You know, the following day as well, niko na stress, nimeshindwa kuperform. You know, does that qualify to be erectile dysfunction? Or is it a question that I have to come to daktari to tell me erectile dysfunction is because of this test we've found?
Okay. Thank you. In my definition, I started by using the word persistent. Because if you ask men, at one time in your life, you'll have an experience where perhaps you are very tired, your partner wants to have a performance, and you can't do. So are we going to define you as having erectile dysfunction? And number two, it's good to differentiate it from the other sexual dysfunctions in men. Because we have problems related to premature ejaculation, which is a totally different topic altogether. We have to differentiate it from ejaculatory disorders, and we have to differentiate it from those conditions of persistent erections called priapism. So when you narrow down to erectile dysfunction, like we have said, there are so many things that come into play. Sex is about two partners. Who is the complainant in this case? Is it the patient? Is it the partner? Because you may be thinking you are very well, but your partner is the one saying, this guy has a problem. So when we look at how common this problem is, before we even look at the pathophysiology or how it comes about, it's a question of whom you ask. If you ask the young men, the percentages will be much lower. If you ask the older men, the percentages may be very high. If you ask a cohort of men who are diabetics, who are hypertensive, it may be approaching almost 100%. And therefore, the range of incidence or prevalence of erectile dysfunction may be as low as 20%, but may be as high as 70%, depending on the age group that you're looking at. Number two, it depends on how you ask the question. Sometimes men we are driven by an ego.
And that ego may make us not come out and say we have a problem, even when the problem is very evident. And some men also will come and tell you, I have a problem because he thought he's supposed to last 15 minutes and is lasting 7 minutes. And for him, he's thinking he has ED. Perhaps because he read somewhere, he watched a magazine somewhere, he watched a video somewhere, and he comes with those societal pressures that come with it. Erectile dysfunction, we have to look at the process of erection so that we can understand then how the disorder comes about. One is that you have to think about sex. You have to have a partner in mind. And sometimes the problems start right from the brain. How attracted are you to this partner? How connected are you to this partner? And from there, these thoughts are modulated by things like hormones. Your hormone testosterone, which is a male sexual driving hormone. How is it in its normal status or not? Then all those thoughts are then transmitted down our body to the pelvis, because that's where the organs of erections are. But that wiring system requires a nervous system that is intact. You may be having a problem in your brain, a stroke. You may be having a problem in your spinal cord, an injury on the spinal cord. You may be having those demyelinating diseases like multiple sclerosis or diseases like that ones, so that then you don't have this information traveling down to the pelvis. Once it is in the pelvis, then it has to be translated to blood flow. You have to increase your blood flow from your general circulation to the organ itself. And this flow is happening through blood vessels. So you have diseases that affect the blood vessels. That's where these issues like hypertension, issues like diabetes comes in. Medications that may shrink the vascular system will come in so that they interrupt the flow of blood into the organ. And then from there, we may have now issues to do with the nerves and sensitivity. Surgeries around the pelvis. Patients have had previous prostate surgeries. Patients have had previous surgeries around the pelvis that interrupted the nerves that conduct within the pelvis, may predispose one to erectile dysfunction. Then you may have to think about once you pull the blood into the organ, then it has to remain within the organ. It shouldn't leak. So you have problems with vessels and valves within the organ that may allow for a leak. And all these contribute to erectile dysfunction. But what is amazing is that 95% of erectile dysfunctions are psychogenic in nature. They are in our mind. That if you have to investigate 100 patients, only about 5% you find something definitive that you need to do about. So most of the times it will be psychogenic. And psychogenic issues starts even with the relationships. How, of course, it also starts even in things like finances. Aseto, you appreciate as a man, but if you put your hand in your pocket and the only thing you feel are your jewels, it's unlikely that you have an erection that day. But if you have your pay, if you are to conduct erectile function study in a time span of the month, you realize that it's very common towards the mid-month, and when the payday comes, those issues are no longer there because of the effects of stress on the body.
Okay, so what we're saying is that there's a direct link. So this performance pressure that we speak about, even though you may want to, your mind essentially is shutting your body down. So are we saying that the only way to realize or to figure out whether it is a psychogenic issue or a purely physiological issue where there might be something going on with the nervous system is to come in and see Dr. Kimani?
Exactly. And in our assessment of the men, we start by interrogating you from your relationships. What are your expectations? What is it that you are calling erectile dysfunction? I mean, that cannot be an erectile dysfunction. It may be a problem of premature. We have to define the problem, what it is. So we ask you questions. And importantly, we ask a very important question called, are you having a morning erection? Why? In the morning, the male hormone is at its highest peak. And men are known to love the morning glory. Why? Because the hormones are at their highest peak in that time of the morning. And during that time, nobody has really, you've come up very fresh from your sleep. You are not tired in any way. And therefore, your system is more like on an auto check. And you will wake up, most men will wake up with an erection in the morning. If you're waking up with an erection in the morning, it means, one, your system doesn't have a problem.
Okay.
Because that's why you have an erection. And
But it doesn't mean that if you don't, that your system is having a problem.
It's not an everyday thing.
Okay.
Because that's what now people also think, that
Right.
you wake up every day with an erection. But if you're getting a morning erection, it's more likely that your problem is psychogenic rather than organic.
Okay.
Yes.
You see, Daktari, there's even someone here who's saying tunataka power. You get it? And the power is very important.
Yes.
You know, but then there is the problem then that you find many men find themselves in one or the other unable to perform, right? And because they have not come to Daktari to tell them what's up, so for Daktari to say maybe it is psychogenic problem that needs to be addressed in a different manner, many just go to a chemist and pop the blue pill, you know, because they say the only way mimi nitapata power is by getting
the blue pill.
The blue pill, you know. What has that done to many men out here who have ended up being dependent on the blue pill? And should blue pill as well just be sold off the counter like any other drug?
Thank you. And that is precisely where the issues are. Who reports erectile function?
Yes.
And that's why I started. Who is the complainant in this case? Because most of the times when I sit in my office, most men, we only come as a last resort because the wife is threatening to go. The spouse, the partner is threatening. If there's no power in this house, I will disappear. And now when the men do come, sometimes it's either because they have been referred to by another doctor. Maybe you've been seeing your psychiatrist and he realizes there's a problem and he refers you. Sometimes it's your diabetologist, sometimes it's your the doctor who's treating your hypertension and so on and so forth. But we want to encourage men to be the ones to seek help because help is available. And when they do come, the first questions we ask them is to try and define what the problem is actually is. Because most of the times when we really ask, I have had young men who come to the office and say, Daktari, I can only last for 15 minutes. And I asked him, what were your expectations? He says, when I saw, it was 30, 40 minutes. And you realize that those expectations are not realistic.
Impossible. Okay.
They are impossible. They are not happening anywhere. And now, sadly, is that many men will... Previously, the blue pill was being sold as over-the-counter medication. And it's not that the blue pill is not safe. Because, again, men fear coming to the hospital because we listen to stories of so-and-so died while they are on the blue pill. The blue pill is a good pill if used for the correct indication, used for the correct dose, and by the correct patient. Now, sadly, some of our men, and I'll say this, erectile dysfunction sometimes give us a window of opportunity to look at your general health.
Okay.
ED is erectile dysfunction. It precedes cardiac and cardiovascular diseases by about 5 to 10 years. A good number of patients will end up with a stroke. A good man will end up with a cardiac attack.
As a result of taking the blue pill?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Because of vascular related problems.
Okay.
Will have reported an erectile dysfunction 5-10 years ago.
Okay.
Why? Because the risk factors for these erectile dysfunctions are the same risk factors for these cardiovascular diseases. And because you are saying you must have blood flow to the organ. Diseases that affect blood flow will also affect other blood vessels within the body. For example, if you have small vessels within the brain that are not receiving blood, then you may end up with a stroke. You have small vessels within your heart that are not getting blood, you may end up with a heart attack. And therefore, if we investigate you for this erectile dysfunction, which you reported, then we could be saving your life 10 years from now from getting a stroke or from getting a heart attack, because it gives us a window of opportunity to modify what can be modified and make you a better person.
I think it's important that you say this because generally for men, health-seeking behavior is, something that's put on the back burner. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. So when you say something like this, that even something that which, applies to you psychologically and physically, and in this case socially as well, then you want to say a problem that you have today that you ignore could have future health effects on you that you could probably, are we saying that you could actually save yourself that future issue if you looked at the present problem?
Exactly. That's exactly what we're saying. If you look at erectile dysfunction and the risk factors, Take, for example, the issue of sedentary lifestyle.
Yeah.
You are obese, and I, with all due respect, don't look at the speaker. He's a very active footballer. If you look at obesity, sedentary lifestyles, they are associated with high cholesterol levels. They are associated with risks of diabetes. They are associated with the risk of hypertension. If we managed your weight and we stopped smoking today, then by extension, we are protecting you from getting diabetes. We are protecting you from getting hypertension, dyslipidemias, metabolic syndromes, all of which are risk factors for cardiovascular events. And therefore, if we worked on you today because you came and you had a problem today, we are literally saving you from future disasters. Yes.
You see, Doc, when you talk about men who are under medication, right? So let's say someone is on antidepressants or someone is on blood pressure medication. The side effects would be erectile dysfunction. And you find that if someone went to hospital or even is under treatment, these are communications or exchanges that happen between them and the doctors to let them know because you're going through this would be the result. So when this happens, just come or I will refer you to another doctor who would be able to assist. Yet, these are not the conversations that happen. I'm treating you for hypertension, for blood pressure, and all I do is I give you medication, you go. And these are issues that later then one would find themselves dealing with not knowing where they come from, the origin of this problem. So in terms of the medical field working together, in such situations, so that if I'm treating you for hypertension, I refer you to another doctor who would be able as well to look at what might happen so that you are prepared and you deal with the problem before it happens. Are these conversations that are taking place?
Yes, they are taking place. And importantly is, you talked about hypertension, and I wanted to make a little bit of a clarification.
Yeah.
Hypertension per se predisposes you to erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
And then there are medications used for hypertension that can give you erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
And therefore, it is important when you are given a medication that the doctor asks you, do you have problem A, B, C? And number two, we tell you, should you experience side effects A, B, C, please come and see us. Number two is that men, even when they come to the consultation room, he will try to explain his erectile dysfunction without saying he's having erectile dysfunction. He'll come and tell you, Daktari, I have back pain. Daktari, I've been having this bladder pain. My testes have a bit of a discomfort. And you take you round and round. And on the final time when he's about to make a request for some tests, in keeping with the story that he has given you, he mentions, by the way, I'm also not performing. And therefore we are encouraging doctors, especially those who are in training and those who are in practice, we should be the ones to pose the question. Gentlemen, Aseto, are you having issues to do with erectile? Very explicit.
Oh, you don't have to answer now. I mean,
you don't have to answer now. In very explicit terms, we ask you the questions. Are you experiencing problem A, B, C, D? Because only then that will the patient, because if the doctor asks, you find out the patient's now much more comfortable.
Right.
They now want to discuss, because that is precisely what brought them to the hospital. But if you didn't ask that question, it will never pop up. Patient will come, leave, go. But sadly, that is the scenario we have been experiencing. But now comes the issues of what then, if we identify that you have erectile dysfunction, should we do? We help you manage things that are problematic. If you're a smoker, we tell you, my brother, you better quit, because smoking has a lot of side effects that come with it. If you are obese, we advise you, hit the gym, change your diet. If you're having issues of cholesterol, high cholesterol levels, we may give you something. If you're having hypertension, we manage it. And then over and above now, we go to other now substantive issues. You have nerve problems that are giving you erectile dysfunctions. How do you address those nerve issues? So there are very many ways of treating erectile dysfunction. And like you can guess, because 95% of it is psychogenic, we all need to talk to you. Once we talk to you, it becomes you are calm. And it's best done when it's a couple consultation. Because perhaps it is the pressure is coming from the spouse, not necessarily from the man. The man, akona power, he has done his honest 3-4 minutes, and he's okay. But the spouse, work. Yes?
Quality work.
Quality work. But the spouse now says, bad. And now that gives issues. And do you know, if a spouse complains about erectile dysfunction, it makes it even worse. Because now the man now develops what we call performance anxiety. Before he comes in the evening, he asks, will the situation be as bad as it was yesterday? So he starts from a point of failure again, which now becomes a vicious circle again. Then there is another funny psychogenic type of erectile dysfunction called situational ED. Situational ED depends on who your partner is. You are very well away, but your home matches, you are losing all of them. That tells you there's no way, we are not changing you in any way. There must be relationship issues around that, which needs perhaps to be addressed by a counselor. So it's not all the time that when you come to the doctor is going to give you medication. It may just be talking to you, appreciating what the problem is, and then helping you navigate the problem. And now when it comes to treatment, there are people we put on pills, and these pills are safe. And people sometimes fear, and they say, Daktari, don't give me this pill because I've had ABCD. By the time I'm making a prescription, I'll have to look at your risk profile. Do you have any adverse issues that may make this pill a problem? If you combine some hypertension medication and these pills, they can drop your blood pressure and drop you dead. But now, if you bought them and nobody knows that you're taking any other medication, then you are at risk. Besides the blue pill, there are some that are given on demand. Others are given as a daily dose. Others are given hours before, because they have variations. And we vary the medications depending on the type of a patient we have. Maybe you are single and you only have a partner for once a month. Why should I give you a daily medication? The other one, you are staying with a partner throughout and you need something every other day. We tailor our medications to your needs. If the pill doesn't work, there are other methods that we go to. Okay, I'd like us to take a break and come and look at some of those other methods for there to be an understanding. I mean, from what you're saying is that this is not a problem that men need to sit with and not seek help about, because something can actually be done. All right, we'll come back and continue with this. Dr. David Kimani is a urologist with the Kenyatta National Hospital. We're talking about performance pressure this morning, and who even knew that there were different kinds of erectile dysfunction. But either way, something can be done about all of them. Let's look at some of the physiological when we come back, and then also see what are these methods that can be used. 28 minutes to 10, Healthy Friday conversation is around this, and one thing that's coming out clear, you don't have to sit with the problem. You can actually seek help. Let's seek it this morning. Don't go away.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with SpiceFM.
All right, a chance of rain later in Nairobi, but for now it is 20 and partly sunny. 18 and sunny into Nakuru, and Njeri at 19 is sunny, and we'll see sunny conditions through Friday in Kisumu, currently at 24. 22 and sunny in Kakamega, while it's cloudy at 27 into Mombasa. Malindi is cloudy at 26. We'll see a high of 28 and a low of 21 in a sunny Marsabit, and it's 22 and cloudy into Kampala with a high of 27, and we'll see a high of 31 in a sunny Dar es Salaam, currently at 28. It's 11 degrees and partly sunny in Johannesburg, and at 28 Lagos is partly sunny. 7 and sunny into London, and Beijing at 24 is partly sunny. Cloudy at 17 in New York Thursday night. Coming into Friday, we'll see a high of 18 and a low of 9.
Feeling unwell? Do not search your symptoms. Find a trusted healthcare provider near you. The Aga Khan University Hospital has brought specialized world-class care to your neighborhood. Our conveniently located clinics offer specialist clinics, diagnostics, and pharmacy services, ensuring you and your family receive the best. See your cardiologist, pediatrician, gynecologist, family physician, surgeon, diabetologist, gastroenterologist, enterologists, neurologists, pulmonologists, among other consultants near your home. For families along Mombasa Road, we've got you with medical centers at the following locations: Capital Center Mall, Imara Shopping Mall, Syokimau, Machakos Town. Visit any Aga Khan University Hospital Medical Center in your hood today or call 0730-011-888. Aga Khan University Hospital, world-class care, here and now.
School is out and the fun is in. Feast your eyes and your kids' hearts on a feast like no other with StarTimes. Recharge your monthly subscription today and get upgraded to the next high bouquet for 1 full month. Turn your home into a world of adventure with Bluey on CBBS, playful giggles on Baby TV and Jim Jam, learning that feels like play on Mindset Learn, non-stop action with the Batman on Toonami and the Powerpuff Girls on Boing, endless fun with SpongeBob on ST Kids, and thrilling wins with Super Strikers on ST Tunes. Unlock your upgrade today. Simply renew your subscription on your current bouquet and we'll automatically move you to the next high bouquet for 30 days. Dial *858# or call us on 0719-077-077 for customer care. Download the StarTimes on app to take the fun wherever you go. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
At 25 minutes to 10 o'clock, our Healthy Friday conversation today is with Dr. David Kimani, who's a urologist at the Kenyatta National Hospital. And we're talking about performance pressure today, erectile dysfunction, essentially. And as we went to the break, you talked about the fact that there are methods to solve this problem. I want to talk about a couple of things and see where nutrition comes into this, and also substance intake and how it affects erectile dysfunction. Of course, substance, we're talking about drugs and alcohol, which a lot of people are dabbling in today. To what extent does this affect this for men, young men? And then, of course, I've seen the question here about there's something called Uji Power.
Uji Power.
Nutrient-rich Uji. And we're actually talking about the actual Uji now, the porridge. Whether that has an effect for general optimal health or not.
Good. And the question of nutrition, Endo, if you look at the recommended diet, we say what is good for the heart is good for the penis.
Okay.
So those things that we advise you to take when you are having hypertension, high blood pressure, and all those things are healthy diet generally.
Okay.
We want to go low on your starch. We want to go low on your fat. And again, it has to come commensurate with exercise and everything so that you maintain your body mass index. That said, there is the issue of Uji Power, Njugu, Mukobero, Misheveve, and the others. To be honest, when you look at the literature, because they have been studied, including camel soup that has been put forward, there is no difference. They don't have an impact. It is your general overall health and your general nutritional status. So you want to avoid things that are going to push you towards obesity, as it is said. The second bit of it is the issue of substance abuse. Contrary to expectations, the people think that when you have had your 2 beers of Guinness, that you're going to be better. Alcohol increases the urge, but reduces on the performance. So you remove the inhibition to approach the topic of sex. But actually, when it comes to performance, 0. Number 2, bangi, cocaine, heroin, and these other medications have been associated with erectile dysfunction. And it's important that we tell our clients that much, because people think that when you have had bangi, that itakuwa tu ni kusiaka. Yeah, but that is not the case. Come the issue of and therefore substance abuse becomes part of our assessment in the sense when you are looking for reasons behind erectile dysfunction in young patients. And when you identify such issues, most of the times there will be a trigger for these substance abuse. And perhaps that trigger is stress related, and this stress related will impact on your erectile dysfunction. And those ones we send straight to the psychiatrist for them to have an assessment and help these young men. That is as far as nutrition and substance abuse is concerned. Besides the medications, because besides the counseling, the lifestyle adjustments, the smoking cessation, and all the others, then if we need to give you medication, we give you medication. I did not mention that some of the causes of erectile dysfunction is actually hypogonadism, where your hormones are low, your testosterone is low. Maybe you have had a testicular problem, you are born with undecided testes, or you are born with a missing testes, or your testes were affected by previous diseases, and therefore your hormones are low. And if your hormone is low, we assess, we measure the testosterone levels, and sometimes we are forced to supplement. And that is one way of, again, managing sexual disorders. When it comes to the issues of vascular, blood flow, and the likes, most of the drugs that we use are to improve blood flow within the organ, because at the end of the day, what we need is blood flow to the organ. And that's where the blue pill comes in. Then we have some devices that restrict, so that once the blood has come in, it doesn't leave. So we use a vacuum device to suck in blood into the organ and then constrict it with a ring. So there are rings that can be used. Sometimes we use drugs that we inject on the organ, or drugs that we put in the urethra for us to get blood flow accumulating. And all said and done, among us diabetics and hypertension, sometimes we are forced to try and regenerate new vessels within the organ. So it may send you to have what is called shockwave therapy, where we put the organ under some certain stresses so that it can develop some new blood vessels. And in the last part of the tire, because it's a tire thing, you start from the simplest, you go to the most complicated, we do implants, where we put in devices that can allow you to have sex on demand. So it's actually a switch. You switch on, and when you finish, you switch off. But unfortunately, that comes with a lot of cost, and we don't want to get to that point if we can have managed you a little bit earlier.
Okay. With this, is the care-seeking behavior for men. It's been a point of conversation in all our health conversations in this studio, that men generally do not show up for these talks, for care, pretty much. And even when they do, you know, tutaenda Singapore kwanza ndio turudi, for us to know exactly where the problem is at. But you find that if we improve our care-seeking behavior as men, then we are able to identify these problems early and deal with them at that point, which then brings me to the question, what numbers are we looking when it comes to men who are generally have come to ask for assistance as compared to the number of men that are being treated? What are we looking at?
I don't have the accurate data, because it's a very difficult topic to navigate, and whenever you ask questions, there will be always biases in terms of the responses that you get. But you're told less than 10% of men seek help. And what is amazing is our men, like especially the African man, has been brought up to be a macho man. You don't complain when things are. You have to act the man that you are, and therefore you end up suffering in silence when you should have sought help. Number two, men are very poor at talking even to other men. They don't open up about their problems. A woman, when she has a problem, she have talked to 6-7 women about her problem. But men, we only meet for a drink, discuss Arsenal, discuss Manu, and then go home. And you go home with your problem. But women have a tendency to talk. And when they talk, you're told, by the way, there is something, I also had a similar problem, or I know somebody who had this problem, and they went. But men rarely do that. And we are encouraging men. Time is now for them to take up their health seriously, because there are things that can be done that can help them, and number two, can protect them against disasters going forward.
You know, you said this conversation is not just for men only, because these men are in relationships, right? And most of the time, if you ask a man to give you a report card of their performance, that would, kofiti, you know. But it is your partner who would always complain. If it's stress that is coming from your partner that is making you unable to perform, that means both of you need to go to the hospital and seek that assistance. So then, how critical then is it for or do we see doctors say, if you have a problem, come with your partner so that we address the root cause of the problem? And how critical is it then for the partner as well to be a supportive partner in this journey?
Very, 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 very good. Sometimes men don't talk even when they come as a couple. And one of the things that we encourage is if a man comes alone, that's a very positive step. We will assess that man, and if we need to have the partner with us, we will call the partner. Because actually some of the treatments require the presence of a partner. And number two, if your man is not coming, then we cannot ignore him. You have also a duty to push your partner to come and seek help. A man is not going to tell you that when they have situation or ED, he's not going to tell you that when I'm away, I'm very okay. But when I'm at home, because he's literally accusing himself and putting him in a very tight scenario. So they may not tell you about that, which is important for us in terms of making the diagnosis. And therefore, we don't mind when they come alone. But if we need the partner, we always insist on your next visit, please bring your partner along. And especially when it comes to relationship problems, they are best solved as a couple. Sometimes men, you come from Mjengo very tired, and they don't feel like they want to have sex. They have had a very rough day at work, and their wife don't understand. The wife has been in the house, did the house chores and everything. He's just waiting for the husband, give him food, and now demand her rights. And the woman may not understand that this man is undergoing some psychogenic stresses that may lead to erectile dysfunction or non-performance. And what does the wife say? Hey, if you are not, then you must be getting it somewhere, which now compounds the problem. And therefore, that is where the issue of couple counseling comes in, and that is why couple sessions are important. They may not be necessarily the first point, but they are important.
Okay. So, when we look at some of these non-communicable diseases that you mentioned before, diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, that will have a predisposition to erectile dysfunction. When do you know? Because you have the high blood pressure, chances are that you are on medication. If you have the diabetes, you know that you have that. When do you know that this would affect and that you're able to combine it as opposed to separating and say, well, it's ED over here, diabetes notwithstanding? Or if you have the diabetes, if you have the high blood pressure, are you then told that these are some of the things that could happen as a result of that? And then what do you do in those cases where you're dealing with an NCD?
Very good question, because hypertension, we said, predisposes you to ED, and ED can come before those other problems. So it's an egg and a chicken issue. And one of the things that we try and do is, one, identify, we say they have a shared risk factor profile. If you look at the risk factors for hypertension, for diabetes, for erectile dysfunction, they are the same. And therefore, if we modify these modifiable risk factors, then by extension, you are handling all the conditions at a go. Number two, we will appreciate that some patients, you come already late. They already have an erectile dysfunction, they have hypertension. And they don't know that they have an attendant, or they have not explicitly said, I'm having an erectile problem. It is a duty of the doctor to ask the patient, are you happy with your sexual performance? Are you happy with erections? And if the patient says no, you also take it now from there. So it's a shared pathway in all aspects. And therefore, by treating one, you are also managing the other one. And that's the message. And the issue here is timeliness of that intervention. Because hypertension and diabetes, you have what we call head organ problems, and the pen is one of the head organs. So if you're able to manage the hypertension, the diabetes, to prevent this head organ problem, we will have, one, protected your heart, protected your blood vessels, protected your kidneys, protected your eyes, and at the same time, protected your penis.
Terry, there's a question that has been asked here with regard to use of contraceptives. So whether it's a myth, debunk it, whether it's truth, tell us. There are those who say that contraceptives used by women could cause erectile dysfunction. True or false? And number two, that when a man goes for vasectomy, that is a candidate for erectile dysfunction in the future. Are these myths, or is there some truth to it?
They are very big myths, major myths, and we see them every day. Because what happens to a woman, we are totally different individuals, and therefore what happens to a lady may not necessarily affect a man. So as far as the female family planning is concerned, it doesn't impact on male sexual health. Vasectomy, however, it does not impact on on erectile dysfunction. If anything, vasectomy increases sexual performance. Why? Because the man is not seeing a responsibility going forward. He's not worried that this partner may end up pregnant. And when you are doing a vasectomy, you are not interfering with the nerves. You are not interfering with the blood vessels. You are not interfering with the hormones at all, because you're only tying the conduit, the tube that moves sperms from the testes to the urethra. That is the only thing you're doing. And studies have shown that actually sexual drive increases in men who have had vasectomy compared to those who have not had.
Okay. So now, the methods that you speak about beyond, I mean, you talked about a device that can be then an implant.
Yeah.
You talk about the pills. And then one of the things that you talk about method is a psychological method.
The biggest.
Right? How then does this work? And we're talking about times when you would go in for counseling, and how long are we looking at? Or is it dependent upon the individual?
It's dependent upon the individual and the nature of the problem. So sometimes we even send you back to your pastor because it's a relationship issue. Then the relationship needs to be addressed, because you cannot be quarreling with your wife and then expect to have erectile function. So the problem here is the relationship issues.
Okay.
Now, if it comes to psychogenic ED, the expectations. Am I supposed to last 1 minute, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour? What is your expectations? And perhaps that is driven by what you know. So if we give you the correct information, that yes, if you give your 5 minutes of honest work and you get to your climax and you're happy about it and your partner is happy about it, you have nothing else to prove. And by dealing with that, then we are able to now move you from the group of complainants, because yours was not actually an erectile dysfunction. It was more to do with a misconception. Once we correct those misconceptions, then you emotionally become healthy. There's an issue of body image issues. My organ is too small. My organ is curved. My organ is this. Yes, when we do a head-to-toe examination of a patient with erectile dysfunction, sometimes we pick in physical conditions that may impact on your sexual function. There are diseases, for example, that causes plaques or calcifications or fibrosis within the penis. And you start getting your penis curved initially, and eventually you now find it's not even getting an erection. It's called Peyronie's disease. We may be able to pick that. You thought it's a normal physiological or age-related change, but actually it's a problem, and therefore the doctor may examine you and appreciate that you have a problem there. You may be having issues to do with the position where your urethra comes out. We call them hypospadias or epispadias, and that required sexual correction, because with hypospadia it comes with a curvature, and with a curvature it makes the penis appear shorter than it would be. It can be corrected. Sometimes patients are born, or boys are born, with what you call a buried organ, and it may give you a very short organ because the hood of the testis is coming all the way to the mid shaft of the penis, and something can be done about it. So sometimes even physical examination may pick an issue that is very easily surgically corrected, and you get along with it. And those are important aspects that why men should go to a doctor and complain specifically about erectile dysfunction, rather than suffer in silence when something can be done.
Yeah. You know, there is also the aspect of these issues being picked at a very young age, even in infants. You know, most of the time you find that the balls have disappeared. I don't know how it's called. It's gone up. You know, and you find these boys, these babies, pretty much in so much pain. So are these things that could be arrested as well, when they're just young children, and be addressed at that particular point? But that does mean that parents have to be keen on the growth and feasibility of their children.
Are you listening to me?
Yes.
Are you a mother of a boy? If you are a mother of a boy, undress him. Look, does he have 2 testes in the scrotum? If the answer is no, or you are unsure, please go see a doctor. Why? When testes are formed, they are formed within the abdomen, just next to the kidneys. And then they drop down to their current location. And in the process of dropping down, a few of them, by the time boys are born, out of 100 boys, 4% that is 4 boys out of 100, have an undecided testis. When you stay for like 6 months down the line, one of them drops. So by the time you're hitting 6 months, then you're looking at perhaps about 3% of boys having an undecided testis.
By when should they descend?
They should have descended by birth.
Or at birth?
At birth,
okay.
The child should have 2 testes.
Okay.
But then when we usually give ourselves a period of 6 months, because there will be one out of these 4 who had undecided whom is going to drop.
Okay.
So it dropped a bit late. Now, this issue of the testes being in the proper scrotum is designed by God. Because outside the scrotum, we have temperature regulation that is important for one, maintaining normal sperm formation and maintaining normal hormonal formation. Beyond that, 6 months, then there is gradual decline in the number of sperm cells that are within the testes. And the longer you wait, the more the decline, whereas nothing is going to be done. And our window of opportunity is between 6 months of life and 18 months of life. And we take that window of opportunity so that we can surgically bring down those testes that are missing there. What is the net effect of an undecided testes? The child now ends up with low hormones, low self-esteem, and by the time they are hitting their playtime, they will be looking at other boys. This one has something's hanging here. I don't have. What is the problem? And yet it's something that we would have identified.
Yeah.
And we do not leave this one. And that's why I said every mother or every father, you have a young boy, expose him, examine him. And if you are not sure, go to a doctor.
What can be done if they're undescended and the boy is 5, 6, 7 years old?
We still do operate them.
Okay.
But the operation now, objectives are different. If we operated in you in childhood, we would have maintained your sexual function, we would have maintained your self-esteem, and we would have maintained, because before you become sexually aware about yourself, and more importantly, we would have protected you from some certain types of testicular tumors, we call seminomatous testicular tumors, that come or are associated with undecided testes. So it has a whole host of benefits, why it should be, and it's not just that it is done, it is done at the correct time.
Okay.
Yes.
One of the reasons that people don't seek care is that there is already a doomsday conspiracy in their minds that nothing can be done about this particular issue, ED being one of them. What would you then be able to give in terms of success rate of treatment on ED cases?
Like you have seen, we have a whole spectrum of care. Spectrum from psychogenic or counseling and everything that goes with it, to medication, to tablets, to injections. So that means even that one patient who does not and has gone through everything and has not gotten help can still get an implant that helps him.
Okay.
So we can with confidence say that the success rate is virtually 100%, because we have everything that can be done. But the truth of the matter is, sometimes if you're not able to manage your expectations as a patient, then we would not have achieved our objectives. Like I said, sexual function is a couple issue. If you are not managed the issues between you two, we may not cure your erectile dysfunction. And therefore, we accept that, yes, we may not get 100%, but a very big proportion of our patients will get help. And then number 2 is that sometimes these devices that you're talking about, the implants, are expensive.
Right.
We are talking about 2 million plus.
Wow.
Kenya shillings, 2 million plus. How many of us can afford 2 million plus? Very few. But unfortunately, or fortunately, if we managed our diabetes and we delay these things, remember, sexual function is also an age-dependent problem. We peak our sexual function at the age of 24, and from there on, we are on a gradual decline. We may never reach 0, but we are on a gradual decline. And therefore, the incidence of erectile dysfunctions will be approximately 25 to 40% in patients under the age of 40. By the time you are hitting 70, the prevalence is about 70%. And we appreciate that there will be an age-dependent decline. And therefore, if, for example, you are diabetic and we delayed your ED to when you are 70, 80, you will even have returned all your tools to the store. Yep.
I mean, this is not just a conversation about men. I think this is a societal conversation that everybody should be having, because at the end of the day, it is someone and their partner. It is your child. So maybe perhaps your closing remarks to everybody who's listening in.
My closing remark is that ED is an important topic that cannot be ignored. One, because it is a very good window to examine your general health. And something we say, a stitch in time saves nine. That's what I say. So if we do something today, we can save you from a problem in the future.
Right.
And number two, ED has been associated including with issues of suicide. Patients can't live with it. And yet they did know that help is available. And you don't need to go to a top urologist. You don't have to come to Kimani. Get to the doctor in your neighborhood.
Indeed.
And the doctor in your neighborhood may just identify, this is psychogenic. And you have a very nice counselor called Mama. And you are taken to the counseling. And your problem is, we say a problem shared is a problem halved. Yes.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you for this, that we can be open and honest about these conversations. I think is one of the things that we try to do here. And thank you for being part of this conversation. Dr. David Kimani, urologist with the Kenyatta National Hospital, thank you. And thank you everybody for keeping it part of the Situation Room this week. We'll talk again Monday, God willing. Have a wonderful day. It's 10 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is Daniel Zaya. I'm Sheila Tembor. Kenyans could soon obtain certificates of good conduct faster at a lower cost under a proposed law that seeks to eliminate repeated fingerprint submissions and enable online renewals through a centralized biometric system. The National Assembly's Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security has backed the proposal to amend the National Police Service Act aimed at modernizing service delivery and improving efficiency. If passed, applicants will reuse existing biometric data, reducing visits to fingerprint centers and easing congestion at the Huduma centers and DCI offices. The bill's sponsor